Are we doing it? We're
I
doing
am.
it. Yeah, we're doing it.
You're a little lackluster this morning.
What?
A little fatigued.
What?
Sluggish.
What?
A viscous personality.
Feel great. Feel great today.
Do you?
We're almost there.
You're
Do you know-
right.
do you know what that
Thursday.
means?
Yeah. It's
almost there.
Thursday. Hey, you know what's it? Oh, thought it was Tuesday for about 10 minutes.
That's wild.
right.
I don't know what that was all about.
I think I had a
very
stroke.
strange.
So I started
Yeah.
having a stroke in 2019 and then it stopped for a while. And I think it's coming back because I don't want to speak lightly of those things, but I'll tell you what, sometimes I literally don't know what's happening.
Right. Yeah, I know. And by you're okay, I think you're okay.
I
right?
mean, I hope so. One can only hope.
Worried sick about you. Amy Marks, Coors, Chris Ranji. Good morning to you. 314-436-7900. Join us. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. We're at Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter if you want to follow us, and you should. We also have our question of the week every week, and you can vote in that if you follow us. And we like to get your voice messages, too. If you're listening on the Odyssey app, there is a button that allows you to record and send a message to the show. And man, it's super cool when you do that.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everyone will be talking about.
After the failure to launch the tornado sirens back in May during the disastrous storm, the St. Louis Emergency Management Chief has been fired. It's quite the debacle, and we will talk about that coming up.
And the Texas GOP has approved redistricting, and now Missouri might be considering it. We'll check in with Major Garrett, CBS Chief Washington correspondent.
Cardinals took 2 of 3 from the Marlins in Miami, even though they dropped the finale last night. But their Florida road trip continues. They've got Tampa Bay. They are playing tonight. We'll have that broadcast at 5:40 and a 6:35 first pitch. It'll be right here on KMOX. So it took a little bit of time, Amy, before they made an actual decision on Sarah Russell, who was the chief of the city emergency management. And after those tornado sirens failed to go off, which undoubtedly, without warning, probably cost lives and injuries and that sort of thing. It took them several weeks to get to this point. I think we knew they were going to get there. Just a lot of times it's not possible or even legally a good idea to just fire somebody right away. You need to make sure all your ducks in a row and get it done. And that's what it looks like the city has done here with Sarah Russell, because that was a massive failure that happened back on May 16th.
And it seems that there were multiple levels of failure here, that there was miscommunication. There wasn't clear leadership when it came to sounding the sirens. It was an outdated tornado siren system. Somebody needed to be there physically to activate the sirens, to push the button. Why would you schedule any type of workshop where every single person in the office, in the SEMA office, is gone, is not on duty, especially when we knew there was some kind of bad weather in the area? But regardless of that, even if it's 60 degrees, sunny, and no chance of a storm, if you're the city emergency management team and you have to physically sound an alarm, you got to keep somebody in the building.
Should be, it should be one of these.
Take everybody.
Why not do it like this? And I'm half joking when I say this, but if you have to have the whole team at this seminar or whatever it was, you got to have somebody hang back, right? Why can't somebody come back after the event is over and say, okay, here's everything I learned, and just, here's your homework.
Yeah,
right? I mean, why not just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for everybody to go to an event like that, which I am certain now will never happen again. I can't imagine that they ever make that same mistake twice.
I mean, an off-site workshop, and they were gone. They were off-site until nearly 2 hours after the tornado hit, and it was a major communication gap. And when you are the head of the City Emergency Management Agency, as Sarah Russell was, the commissioner, your main job is communication.
Yeah.
Communicating to your team, communicating to the dispatchers who communicate to the public. That's your job. And it was such a massive failure. And like you said, you have to do due diligence. You have to make sure you go through an investigation or an audit to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, you don't want to open yourself up to a lawsuit.
But I will say, you know how in the movies when someone robs a bank or there's a big political scandal, somebody's got to go to jail. You kind of knew somebody was going to get fired.
Yeah, head's got to roll.
But they did the audit, to see who was the person who needed to get fired. And it makes sense that it's the person at the top. That's who it needs to be. They did the audit. It's mind-boggling, the lack of communication here. To be honest, Ranj, the tornado was a mile wide. It was in an E3?
3.
As it hit the city, as it hit the Central West End and North City, there were no tornado alarms. It was the middle of the afternoon. People playing golf in Forest Park, people picking up their kids from school, going on jogs, walking the dogs, coming home from work. And 5 people is way too many people to die. And it is a tragedy. And at the same time, I can't believe it wasn't more. The size of that tornado and how quickly it hit such a densely populated area, Ranj. I've talked to different people who were in the Central West End or in Forest Park when the tornado hit. And where did you go? How did you not die? I mean, when you see the damage the tornado did, look at those homes in North City that were just leveled.
I was on my neighborhood where the part of the neighborhood where I lived at the time was right on the edge of it. And there was a lot of damage in my part, a lot of giant trees on top of houses. And there was quite a bit of destruction. It was nothing like North City, but there were a couple of homes that I saw and there were cars that were crushed that I thought, man, I mean, if somebody was in that part of the house or if they were, in this car, they'd be gone, right? But if you go just a few blocks north of that, even, it was really bad. And those are some densely populated areas too. So you're right. It's amazing more people did not get hurt and die in this, but still, it's a lot.
We know someone in our building whose car got lifted up, spun around, and she saw it's not a neighbor, but someone who lived in the community. She didn't know him. He didn't know her.
Yeah.
And he opened his door and was just screaming for her to get out of her car and come running into his house.
Yeah.
So strangers helping strangers. To be completely honest, I don't know what I would have done. I know you were in your car. You drove south. You drove the opposite direction.
I was coming up the off-ramp on Kings Highway when it was over the park.
But, we've seen videos of people who were in their cars. There were some construction guys on Lindell. In a pickup truck going, oh my gosh, we're in a tornado. There's another video of a woman and maybe a couple women in a car on Lindell. They just stopped. We're in the tornado. So what I know is I would have stayed in my car, maybe pulled over. The thing is, there were dozens and dozens and dozens of cars where trees had fallen on them and smashed them down to the chassis.
Right.
And that's when I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
So like I told you, I was driving away from the storm when it happened because that was pretty immediate. I was listening to Michael Calhoun, deliver the updates and talking about where it was. And then I came up the off ramp and I saw it over the park and it was so wide that it almost didn't look like a typical tornado.
Like a storm or something.
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't go that way. And I was driving away from it and debris was hitting my car. So if you had been up north of that area just a couple of blocks, it had to have been terrifying. And for some people, it was and ended up being incredibly devastating. So, and you're right about in a situation like this, Amy, let's say it wasn't her fault. Like it wasn't just her failure, that it was other people involved. Somebody has to pay a price.
Somebody's got to pay a price.
And even if it is unfair, I think to show the public that you're on top of it and that you are going to make sure this doesn't happen again, somebody's got to go. Yeah. Somebody has to go after something like that.
Well, it's like Chuck Colson and Watergate. You could have sent a ton of guys to prison for Watergate, but you got to pick one guy. They picked. But the tornado, Ranj, the sirens never sounded. Here's the thing. The audit, most recent audit, found that even if these sirens had been activated large sections of North St. Louis would not have been covered. They would not have been under the system's coverage, so they wouldn't have heard anything, which, like you said, even if Sarah Russell, the head of it, hadn't failed in this aspect, well, then who do you point to for that outdated, insufficient system, right? You got to point to somebody. You got to find somebody and say, who's in charge of this?
Yeah.
Is this a mayor? Is it a different type of city administrator? Who should have ensured that the system was sufficient? Secondly, and this is really shocking, on the evening of May 16th, the tornado, Sarah Russell, the SEMA commissioner, didn't even know that the sirens hadn't gone off until Mayor Kara Spencer said, "What happened with the sirens?" Mayor Kara Spencer had to ask Sarah Russell. Sarah Russell's like, "What? They didn't go off?" So not only did they not go off, but nobody knew that nobody pressed the button.
Right.
Nobody realized, hey, somebody in that office should have said, we were at a workshop and a tornado hit. Do you know who pressed the button? Hey, we were at a workshop and I don't know where the workshop was, but we didn't hear any sirens. How did it not even occur to them to know that the sirens didn't go off?
It's a fantastic question. I don't, and I don't have an answer.
Let's say we were all gone and we're like, hey, the commercial button in Studio B.
If it's
who pushed the button for the commercials?
If it is your agency's job to make sure that goes off, I don't think that's one of the things you'd want to check on.
Yeah.
And you should know if parts of St. Louis are not covered. Now, the fact that the sirens didn't really service everybody, even if they had all gone off, that is a long-term failure on the part of city's leadership. And look, I don't think it's unusual for whether it's St. Louis or some other city or a county. In a lot of cases, it is not unusual for city leadership or leadership of a county or a municipality or whatever to lack forethought, to lack foresight. It happens, right? People think about the now. What can we do now? Oh, we need new tornado sirens. We'll worry about that later because it's not a thing right now that we have to deal with. The flooding that happened just a few weeks ago down in Texas, where they had been begged to do things and fix the emergency system there to warn people, and the people who lived there were like, we don't need to do this right now because we don't need to spend that money on this. And then it turned into a devastating flood where all these people died and all these properties were ruined. So it's just the lack of foresight that happens in situations like this is really frustrating because people are too focused on right now and not what could happen a year or 2 or 3 from now. I
think, like we said, what was it? The 50s was the last time a tornado tore through the city of St. Louis. Yeah. And when you have long spans of time where a certain emergency doesn't happen, it does breed complacency. It does in all sorts of areas of life.
No question. Matt Pauley will talk Cardinals with us at 10 o'clock. Major Garrett at 10:30. We'll talk Festival of Nations at 11 today with David Gonzalez from the International Institute and the producer of Austin's Pride. This is what Amy went and saw last night in Kirkwood. Aaron Craig is going to join the show. It's all coming up on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. Openphone.com/TRY.
Every week on the Moth Podcast, we share stories that are funny, strange, heartbreaking, and above all, true.
I myself have been married for 56 years. Unfortunately, to 4 different women.
It turns out the people I was looking for all my life is what you people would call nerds.
Follow and listen to The Moth on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
The Dave Glover Show.
Let me do a promo that no one's ever done in the history of radio. I talk 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's impossible to do without saying a lot of really, really stupid stuff. So if you would like to see someone just melt down about once a week, tune in. It can happen anytime between 1 and 5. Usually happens in the 2 o'clock hour. I'm not sure why. 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on KMOX weekdays. It's the DGS.
The Dave Glover Show. Now on FM. 104.1 FM. KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
Text messages 314-436-7900. And as we were just talking about the termination of Sarah Russell, who was the SEMA director after the failure to have the tornado sirens go off back in May, we were discussing that situation, and a text message has come in that says, in a day and age when cell phones give a faster and more accurate warning, sirens are really non-consequential, and focusing on this 1940 system is a waste of time and money. And I appreciate that thought, and I think this person is right for the vast majority of people, that we do have the cell phone. We do know, we get those warnings. We get the, hey, inclement weather is coming your direction right now. We get that, right? But not every person either has a smartphone, has a mobile phone, or has it with them in the moment. I mean, you could be talking about a bunch of people who were outside doing things outside. Maybe they left the phone in the house. Maybe they were in the house with the phone, but the room that they were in their home doesn't get good reception. There are all kinds of reasons that a tornado siren is still valuable to people.
Yeah. So, and I have heard this too, and I've heard people, like meteorologists even, like talk about, well, the siren system is not the primary form of communication. And I get it, but maybe it goes from being primary to supplementary. And like Ron said, if you're outside, to be completely honest, this storm popped up so quickly. People were on the golf course. You're out running in Forest
Yeah.
Park, you don't have your phone.
Yeah.
If the alarm goes off, it makes you realize I need to take action now, and I wouldn't have known it. I actually talked to a woman in Clayton who was, she's, I guess it was technically St. Louis City. She's on the Forest Park side, the Skinker side in St. Louis. And she was outside gardening. And she was out in the back part of her yard. And she was older, so not like a super fast mover, right? Not going to run from the yard. And she said she was outside gardening because it was sunny and it looked nice. She was in the way back of her yard in the garden. She realized she forgot something. Now, she didn't have her phone, but she realized she forgot something, went to go walk to the front door. And as she got close to her front door, the sky turned green, the tornado swept through. And she told me that if she had not just by chance been walking towards the front door, she wouldn't have made it inside in time. And she lost 15 trees in her yard, and the backside of her house, all the brick got thrown off. She could have died. And that's one of those things where if you're out in the garden like that, a siren helps.
And she did not, she didn't hear sirens, obviously.
No, there were no sirens. Yeah.
And that was the thing the next day when we were doing the show. There were a lot of people who texted in and said, I didn't hear any sirens. Why didn't any sirens go off? Because I think it took a little bit of time before we started to realize that was a failure, that they did not go off. I had just heard from a person here and there, like, I didn't hear tornado sirens. What's going on there? And I did not know it. I was in a car at the time it hit, so I don't know if I would have heard them anyway if they went off.
So I will say this, and I know we're running short on time now, but Dave Murray, meteorologist, he has for years said the system that we have here in Missouri is that if there's a tornado in one county, the surrounding counties, all the adjacent counties, sirens go off. And that's a terrible thing because if there's a tornado in South Jefferson County, North St. Louis County, the sirens will go off. Well, of course we're not going to take action. And we definitely have a boy who cried wolf mentality when it comes to sirens here. I wish with sirens, I wish they would say only if it's in your county that the sirens go off, because you're right. If I know that there's a tornado in Jefferson County, well, you don't need to take shelter in St. Louis, North St. Louis,
right?
But the alarms will go off.
Yeah, I don't think this is unusual though. With the tornado sirens,
I don't know.
I think it's countywide in a lot of places around the country.
But I mean, these are even different counties. That's where it shouldn't be different counties.
Right.
At least should be in your county. And I will say, when I was at Hanley and Wydown when the tornado hit, the sirens in Clayton went off for, I don't know, like for a while, but that was like 20 minutes before the actual tornado hit. And I guess the sirens hadn't gone off yet because the tornado formed right there on Hanley. Literally, the funnel came down a half mile from my apartment, but it formed there. So maybe those sirens wouldn't have gone off. Not exactly sure. But by the time that funnel touched down at Big Bend and Wydown, North St. Louis City and Central West End, those sirens should have been blaring.
That's Amy Marks-Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Amy, she loves to read for fun, but apparently fewer and fewer people like to do that, and what it means for you and for your kids, too, because there are effects of that. Also, how do you feel about airplane concerts?
Do you like jazz?
I got a real problem with jazz on a plane.
You like jazz?
You like smooth jazz?
Yeah, we're going to get into this, too. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, tell us a little something about the history of the Audiology Center.
At the Audiology Center, we care about our patients. They are like our family. For us, we want everyone to feel comfortable and confident in their choice to work with us. We ensure best practices for our patients, which include real ear measurements and testing to ensure the best possible outcomes for everyone with their hearing aids. Dr. Fahn started the Audiology Center in 1982, and I purchased the practice in 2017. Dr. Adam Voss joined us about a year ago, and we all want to use our educational backgrounds and our passion for hearing care to help everyone reconnect to their loved ones. We have been around for 43 years, and we want to earn your trust in your hearing care needs. We have 3 locations. Call us at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun.
All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your two, Big Q2. Roll and mix a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a Big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
Learn to design and create your own moss wall to decorate your home or office. Come out to Chesterfield Valley Nursery Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Only 15 spots available. Go to chesterfieldvalleynursery.com/events to register. Each attendee will receive a 20% off coupon for any additional retail purchase. Join us for this fun and informative class. Register now. chesterfieldvalleynursery.com/events.
Currently, it is 71 degrees, real feel temperature 78, mostly sunny and beautiful today. A high of 81 tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 65.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. For over 65 years, Renner Garage Door has delivered top-notch service, sales, and installation. Get your free estimate today. RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER. RENNER.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Save on prescriptions, discounts at restaurants, hotels, shopping, and more with Quiver River Electric's Co-op Connections program. Register for a free Co-op Connections account. Download the app on your smartphone, and you're on your way to savings. For more on this program that gives you incredible discounts on everyday expenses, visit quiverriver.com. Click on Member Resources, then select Co-op Connections, or call us at 1-800-392-3709. A tip from Quiver River Electric Cooperative.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Take a look. It's in a book, a reading rainbow.
I watched this show every afternoon on PBS.
I don't want to brag, but I have met LeVar Burton.
Did you meet him in his Reading Rainbow days or
No.
his Star Trek days?
Post Star Trek days.
Wow.
So this is probably about,
I love LeVar
it's probably
Burton.
about 10 years ago.
You
I met him.
know, back in the 80s and 90s, girls used to wear headbands a lot. It's probably coming back now, but I would put the headband, I'd put it down
Around
over
your
my
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretend that I was his character in Star Trek.
What was
his name?
Jordy? Does that
Was
sound
it?
right? There was somebody named Data. Was it Jordy? Yeah, I knew it. Thanks, Frank. Frank Ladd. Frank Ladd with the assist. He loved Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Well, at any rate, I love that show. Also, did you ever, I was a little old for this, but I had little brother and sister. So PBS was on in the afternoon. Love PBS. And we would watch Wishbone, about the dog that would act out classic novels like Pride and Prejudice, which I saw last night, or Sherlock Holmes. And the dog would always like get into trouble or solve mysteries. He was
Amy?
a Jack Russell Terrier.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you're too old. It would be
Okay.
weird because you'd be like 20 probably
Watching
it.
Wishbone?
It's about a Jack
Well, I'm
Russell
really thinking
Terrier.
about getting into SpongeBob.
Well,
'cause
that's
I never-
kind of adulty.
I never watched it,
Yeah.
and everybody talks about how great it is, so I feel like I missed the boat and need to get on it.
So I want to get this story over with because it hurts. Because it hurts my heart. It poked my heart.
Okay.
It hurts my heart. It makes me so sad. I could cry. It makes me want to run away. So reading for fun in the U.S. has fallen by 40%. A new study says over the last 20 years, the number of Americans who read daily for pleasure has seen a massive decline, especially in the past few years. Even worse, reading to kids at an all-time low. You know why? Gen Z parents, didn't realize they were parents already. Gen Z parents say, quote, it's not fun. So not only do the current generations, I'm assuming millennials are part of that.
They would have to be.
We're subject to the enchantments, the enticements, and the drug that is social media. And then Gen Z as well. Gen Alpha, who knows if they even know how to read. They can just say, hey, ChatGPT, read this book for me. But Gen Z parents are not reading to their kids. The number of parents reading is at an all-time low with fewer than half. So only about 40% of parents of kids 4 years old and younger are read to frequently. In 2012, that number was 64%. Again, what's happened since 2012? Well, we know there have been other things to take our time and attention. But Gen Z, which is those born between 1997 and 2012, are significantly more likely than millennials or Gen X to view reading as just a subject to learn rather than an activity that you would ever do for fun or ever do for pleasure or ever do as an enriching activity. So again, Gen Z just sees reading as a subject. Why would I read? That's like algebra to them.
You know what's interesting about this is with social media, I see a lot of people post about the books they're reading. So that's not data. That doesn't give you an indication of how many people are reading, how many people are interested in it. But I do find it fascinating that I see a lot of posts about, people taking a photo of the cover of the book they're reading or the book they're reading and they got coffee next to them. Like, this is what I'm doing right now, unless they are just pretending.
Well,
I don't know. It seems like there is interest in it, at least on that superficial level.
Yeah, and I'm probably friends with more millennials and Gen Xers. I mean, actual friends. I have a lot of Gen Z, I call them kids, but I guess they're parents. But I have a lot of Gen Z kids that I know just from growing up, being involved, tutoring in the homeschool community, my friends and their kids. So I'm around a lot of Gen Zers, but I would say my peers, I see the book posts with millennials more than Gen Z. And I also wonder, well, are they like, of course, my dad would never post what book he's reading because everyone would say, who cares? Everybody reads. Is posting a book kind of a flex? Look, I'm doing something smart and unusual.
Yeah.
I'm reading.
So maybe that's it.
Because it is a
maybe
personality.
It's like it could be because maybe it's a thing where you post because you want people to know
Tumble
you read.
bragging. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, look what I'm doing.
Because
and I'm better than you.
I kind of
Because this is how you are. You're always like, I read this book. Just to brag.
Don't post on social media. I
No,
just
you just
talk
tell
about
me
it on
about it.
KMOX. I say it on 50,000 Red Hot Rod.
Oh yeah,
Plus.
this is totally different than
Yeah, but my caveat is, and I don't have any friends.
Oh.
It's so funny because again, in Pride and Prejudice, one of the daughters, Mary, reads books and is a total prude and has no friends. And I'm like, well, whoa, just calm down. It's not me. I'm not Mary. Okay. At any rate, I took it personally. It's weird. Have you ever seen a character in a play and you took it really personally? But
like they were talking directly at you.
well, like here, let's make a hilarious character based on Amy. Everyone will laugh at this person. She was a total loser.
What a dork.
What a dork. Mr. Darcy, not in love with Mary. At any rate, it does make me sad. So obviously with homeschooling, like read aloud, like I read a lot. I bet I read, I'm not joking. I bet I read 6 to 8 hours a day. When I was 11, I loved Nancy Drew.
Mhm.
And back in those days, you went to the library. And I would go to the library. And I remember when the internet was invented, then you could go online on this very rudimentary website and check out the books so that they were ready for you to go pick up. And I read through all of the Nancy Drew books. But then when I helped homeschool other kids, a big part of it was just reading out loud. Because even if you're reading a 6th grade level book and the little first and second graders are running around, they're absorbing it. I always say the youngest kids have all the advantages. And I feel like that's, yep, the youngest one has the advantages because they get to hear the discussions and the books and the storylines at a much younger age.
You know, this whole conversation, I can't help but think about people who are in my generation too, who are Gen X, who have raised kids, who I have seen to shut their children up, throw an iPad at them. And say, here, go, just do this. And I know that they let them look at the iPad late at night before they go to bed too, right? So maybe there wasn't a whole lot of reading. It was just like, I don't have to read. All I have to do is give my kid this thing that will entertain them, and they're quiet. Okay, great. This is fine.
And it doesn't, it doesn't.
So I think it
activate your
starts
brain.
there.
Yeah.
It starts there with my generation. And then it is going to continue probably to worsen.
Mhm.
There's got to be a correction point at some point, isn't there?
I hope so, because Ivy League schools, there was a story in the Atlantic last year. It was the Ivy League students who have never read an entire book. They were never asked to read an entire book. Now, I read a ton of books, but of course you had classes where for efficiency's sake, you read excerpts. But we also read full books. But the kids, either they're reading excerpts or they're using advanced, even if it's not AI, but advanced, internet cheat sources to pretend like they've read the book. And kids are good at it. I mean, kids can make it sound like they've read a book when they haven't. And it's so sad to me. I mean, it was a couple of years ago, I read the entire, like the Chronicles of Narnia and a couple of C.S. Lewis books in that series. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. No.
You hear this lady bragging?
I read it out loud to an 11-year-old.
Oh.
And we would talk about it, right? And they would say, what's that word? Why do you think that person felt that way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is...
There's a lot of value in that.
There's so much value. So you can't say, well, what's the difference? What if they just watch a movie? Or what if they just watch the summary?
Yeah.
There's a
little more critical thinking that goes on when you have to go through
and
that.
Emotional immersion.
Of course. So this is we're interested to know about you and what you have done and what you do in regard to this. Do you read to your kids, or did you? And I imagine that we're going to get a lot of people who are in the older age brackets who say, well, I totally read to my kids. But if you were younger, I mean, if you were 30, 35 in your 40s, what did you do or do with your kids? Let us know. Text us at 314-436-7900. You can leave voice messages on the Odyssey app as well. Amy, did you hear about this thing that happened?
You got to be more specific than that.
On a plane?
We're just hanging out, and we were all lamenting, all the passengers. And there was this one flight attendant named Charlene, who was just having fun with all of our guys during the flight. And she said, I saw you bring on your instruments. I know they're in the overhead compartment. Why don't you play us a song?
Okay. So that is Dave Cause. He's a saxophonist. Very, very good, by the way. A St. Louis based musician. He and his fellow bandmates, Dave Cause and the Friends Summer Horns Tour, they were going to Seattle because they had a couple of days of shows out there. So they're on a flight, and because their flight was delayed, and at one point they were diverted to Boise, they had to hang out there. So they're on the plane stuck, and a flight attendant, he says, asked them to get out their instruments and start playing for the plane. Okay. Let me just say this.
So this was the flight attendant's idea.
Yes. So let me just say this. Okay. I think this is a terrific group of musicians. They are very, very good. They're really good, and I would go watch them play.
Yeah,
I don't know I want this concert on an airplane.
Listen.
I don't know that I want people to just break out instruments without asking me first.
Yeah.
I didn't get on a flight to listen to the horn section.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know many situations where you're cramped, you're tired, you're stressed, your plane has been delayed, you're shoved and stuffed and sardined next to people you don't know. It's going to be a while before you even start your journey to your destination. And so your nerves are frayed. And then someone says, you know what you need? A horn section. That's what you need.
Look,
you need some brass instruments.
It's kind of a small tube. And you know how sound works? I don't know, man. I'm not digging this. We've seen videos of a group of singers, like a choir.
Yeah.
And they're delayed, and they decide, you know what? We're going to all break out in song. And you all have to listen to it.
Poor little girl that did karaoke over the intercom. Her parents should have stopped her.
I don't remember that.
She's like 12, 11, and she wanted to sing. And here's the thing. Just don't do that. When people are on a plane, like you said, you're in a tin can. Honestly, this might be the most upsetting segment we've ever done.
It's one thing to go to a bar that has live music.
Love it.
Going to the bar, there's live music. When you get on a flight, you're thinking, man, I'll just nap. I want to relax. I want to chill. I don't know if I want this music. I got on a flight from Dallas and we were going back to Chicago. And before the flight started, they made an announcement, and I don't know what the band's name was. There were a couple of guys, and they were like, the so-and-so band, and it was some up-and-coming group, and they're going to perform for you. And they had the flight attendant microphone thing and then an acoustic guitar, and they played at the front of the plane. And we were hungover. I'm like, dude, we don't need this.
Listen.
This is bad. However, Amy, it was some sort of Southwest Airlines deal with the band and Beats headphones, Beats by Dre.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody on the plane got a gift bag with Beats headphones.
Well, that would be worth it.
Those
are like $400, aren't they?
They were earbuds.
Okay.
And they were pretty good. So in that case, I'm like, I could deal with this. I got free Beats.
Listen, that made it worth it. But here's the thing. I love Peter Cetera. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a cutout of him at my birthday party because it's hilarious. But here's the thing. If Peter Cetera stood up at the front of a plane that was delayed for 2 hours and started singing into the flight attendant's intercom, I think I would just yell, Peter! Stop! Stop!
You would not.
I think I would.
I think you know who can get away with it right now with me?
I do.
Liam and Noel Gallagher.
Yeah.
If they start playing at the front of the plane.
I hope they do.
By the way, what if they're on Southwest? We're on a Southwest flight wherever they're going. 1 week from today. The show, they're coming to the United States. Oasis. 1 week from today at Soldier Field. Daddy's going to be there.
Okay.
I cannot wait. Week from today, Oasis. They haven't broken up yet. It's going to happen. This concert is going to happen. I cannot wait. Let's go. Are you excited for me?
I am.
What are you laughing at?
I just remember the most random story of like a friend on a Southwest flight who's like, you're never going to believe who's on this flight. I'm like, who? He's like, Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I'm like, they fly Southwest.
I would think you would fly a little.
I feel like they would fly private.
Yeah.
But it was really random. He's like, remember that time I took a flight with Louis Farrakhan? What? Southwest, baby.
Did you see this? Oh, is this little cigarettes and alcohol?
Rock and Roll Star.
Oh, it's Rock and Roll Star. I can hear it now. Yeah, baby. Let's go. 1 week from today. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
At Tax Relief Advocates, we get it. Thinking about back taxes to the IRS can be very unsettling. Don't lose hope. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, TRA is resolving taxpayers' delinquent tax problems nationwide once and for all. We could significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe the IRS. If you haven't filed your taxes in years or are already facing collections, we can help. We aren't just some run-of-the-mill tax service company. We specialize in helping individuals and businesses with $10,000, $50,000, or even $500,000 in back taxes get speedy resolution. And in many cases, only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. The IRS isn't going anywhere, and neither is your tax problem. To see what tax relief you qualify for, visit TRA.com or call 800-335-8578. 800-335-8578. Again, that's 800-335-8578. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. As a local small business owner for the past 24 years, I always do my best to shop local and support our community. Recently, 2 of the largest tree contractors in the region have sold to out-of-town investment groups. This means that the new owners of these companies are not invested in quality, customer satisfaction, or safety, except for how it affects their bottom line. Timberline Professional Tree Care was founded in 2001 and is focused solely on giving you, the customer, the safest, highest quality product while providing the best customer service before, during, and after the job. I've poured my heart and soul into tree care for the past 24 years, and we aren't going anywhere. When it comes time to take care of your trees, I ask that you shop local and call me, Ben Barnett, at Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or online at stltreecare.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Ranj,
Talk to me.
2 words for you. Radioactive shrimp.
I love it. Love radioactive shrimp.
So Walmart has issued a recall of certain types of Great Value raw frozen shrimp because it's contaminated with cesium-137, a radioactive isotope. As Axios points out, this, quote, "This is not your chance to develop amazing crustacean-based superpowers."
You know, it's funny.
So don't eat it.
I'm glad you brought this up
Okay.
because somebody earlier had texted about the radioactive shrimp, and it, had nothing to do with anything. They just texted about it.
Oh, did they?
And you can text us too at 314-436-7900. But you're
They
not the
were-
only person worried about this.
They were sold in Missouri, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia.
Well,
Radioactive shrimp, baby. This is how it begins. Nobody pictures shrimp taking over the world.
if you eat radioactive shrimp,
Yes.
do you develop superpowers? Is this how you become an
No,
X-Man?
you didn't even listen to what I said.
Is this how you become an Avenger?
No, that's what I just read. I quoted Axios saying
So-
this is not your chance to get crustacean-based superpowers.
So you don't get to become like Thor.
No, they said nausea, illness, and death.
That's not, well, I don't want that.
Yeah. And so far, they said, to be clear, they haven't found any radioactive shrimp. They just believe they could be radioactive in the United States, I think.
Yes.
But, they're recalling it because somewhere in that batch, the shrimp got wonky.
That's my favorite way to prepare shrimp. I love wonky shrimp.
It sounds good.
It's so good.
It sounds like when you mix all the seasonings together. Have you ever tried my Dave's Wonky Shrimp?
This is like, it's kind of like when you go. Have you ever done the thing where you go to a fast food place or something, and then they have the soda fountain out where you can get your own, and then you just get a little bit of everything in one cup?
Yeah, but I never would put all the sodas in one cup. That's weird.
That's what. No, it's what's that called? There's a term for that. If you know what that term is, where you get your cup, you get your ice, and then you get a little bit of each of the sodas into one cup. Tell us what you think that is.
Is that it? Is that the end of your story?
That's the end of my story.
Oh, well,
I need to know. Let me know. 314-436-7900 and tell us what you think happened there.
all right.
Amy,
Yes.
when we come back, we're going to talk to Matt Pauley because the Cardinals have this road trip going on in Florida. Matt was on a bit of a road trip. He's on the way. Is he back already?
He's back.
He better be back because he's got to work today. So he's going to talk Cardinals baseball with us.
Yeah.
We do have Major Garrett coming up at 10:30 as well. Lots to talk about with him, including the Texas situation where the legislature there has voted to redistrict, which means that they are hoping to pick up some congressional seats. Missouri is a state that is considering it as well. There's no final plan, but they are considering that. We're going to talk about that with Major Garrett. That'll be coming up at 10:30. It's Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. Hour 2 of the show is next. And don't forget the Gas House Gang today at 12. Bernie Miklasz and me, Chris Ranji, on KMOX.
Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Hi, I'm Gloria Liu, broker owner at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And for over 20 years, I've been getting my home sellers the most money for their home and selling faster than the average agent. So when you're ready to sell your home or have questions, call me.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. For years, I've been telling you about Gloria Liu and why you should call her. Gloria has solutions and programs for every seller because she understands that every situation is different. Call Gloria and get your free instant home valuation, choose from multiple cash offers, or sell with certainty this summer because Gloria will guarantee upfront and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she will pay the difference. Hey, the St. Louis market is shifting. Now is a great time to call and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Call 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. Openphone.com/TRY.
News, talk, Cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover, right now buy 2 windows and get 2 for free, no interest for 5 years. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
How are we already at the last show of the season at the Muni? The return of Jersey Boys closes the 107th Muni season. Hits like Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, My Eyes Adored You. I will meet you at the Muni.
The Muni in Forest Park.
Jersey Boys, the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, closes the Muni season in style, August 18th through 24th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust. For tickets, visit muni.org.
It is 10 o'clock and we've got sunshine, 73 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. It looks like it's not an if, but when Governor Mike Kehoe will call a special session in Missouri to heed President Trump's call to redraw congressional district maps. Trump said on Truth Social, the great state of Missouri is now in. I won it all 3 times in a landslide. We're going to win the midterms in Missouri again, bigger and better than before. That's because in redrawing the maps, Republicans will carve up one of 2 Democratic districts to essentially oust Congressman Emanuel Cleaver of the Kansas City area. Missouri Voter Protection Coalition holding an emergency meeting tonight at 6 in St. Peter's at the Spencer Road Library, tomorrow night in St. Louis at IBEW Local 1 on the Hill. The coalition's Denise Lieberman says redrawing district lines after the census every 10 years has already happened in Missouri, and doing it again now at the behest of President Trump is a power grab and a blatant effort to rig elections. It is common for the party in power to lose the midterm elections. Trump is trying to prevent that. His polling numbers currently have him underwater on every issue. The Texas House passed their redistricting plan last night after a standoff started by Democrats fleeing the state to protest. If the law is signed into law, which is expected, it would create up to 5 new GOP-leaning districts. CBS's Hunter Woodall is in Washington.
The focus really has shifted to how this plan will be challenged in court. Obviously, Democrats are hoping that what they're doing here will lay out a case to try and get this map thrown out once it goes in front of judges. There's this idea that obviously the big changes here, especially mid-decade and everything that's gone with it, really could be divisive in court. The Republicans, as you've heard, are confident that what they're doing is legal, what they're doing is going to be allowed.
In response, California state lawmakers are getting ready to vote on new redistricting maps that favor Democratic counties, hoping to counter any Republican gains. The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra returns home for its 146th season. The ribbon cutting on the newly renovated and expanded Powell Hall at Jack C. Taylor Music Center is September 19th. 2 days after the free symphony concert at Forest Park that officially kicks off the season. The opening weekend of concerts at Powell begins September 26th. A community open house will be held in November. A big reason people dine out or pick up food is time. Juggling the demands of work, school, and family often leaves little time for meal prep. According to a CNET survey, Americans spend an average of almost $237 a month on restaurant and takeout meals. That adds up to almost $4,200 a year. Millennials spend the most, more than $346 a month, followed by Gen Z, then Gen X, and then Boomers. Even when U.S. adults manage to find time to buy groceries, they end up wasting a lot of it that doesn't get cooked or eaten. That adds up to about $1,500 a year of food that gets thrown in the trash. The weather is sponsored by FanDuel Sports Network.
A delightful afternoon with more sun than clouds, high 80. Mainly clear tonight, though 68. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow, high 85. For Saturday, intervals of clouds and sun, high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Mostly sunny, 73 degrees now. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals, or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A lot of traffic, as we mentioned.
Wilson Contreras slams one deep left center. It's a goner. The Cardinals are down by 2 again, as Contreras, who struck out the first 2 times, just hit one out. His 17th home run of the year and his 67th RBI.
Yo, Paulie! Paulie's a great name. Yo, Paulie! What'd you do for Paulie? Anything? Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
Well, Cardinals in Florida, and they just won 2 of 3 from the Marlins. They're going to play Tampa Bay starting tonight. This is one of those weirdo series where there is a game tonight, a game tomorrow, and then they're off Saturday.
So why are they doing
There's a
that?
football game Saturday.
Oh,
I think the Bucks play or something.
but it's
I don't know.
preseason,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But still, there's a game. So there's no game on Saturday, which is crazy because it's like the perfect day of the week to have a baseball game. So no game Saturday, then they'll play Sunday. We are joined now by Matt Pauley, the host of Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour, and there'll be about 40 minutes of Redbird Rush Hour today, starting at 5 o'clock, and Cardinals pre and post. Matt Pauley, welcome back to St. Louis.
Thank you. Just to put a little bit more on that, so they're playing in a minor league stadium this year because the roof got ripped off of Tropicana Field,
Right.
and I believe the minor league stadium is in very close proximity to where the Buccaneers play. So from a logistics standpoint, I don't think they can pull off both events at the same time.
What is do you know what the capacity is for that stadium that Tampa Bay's playing in right now?
I don't. I can look it up, but I would guess it's like 8,000. That's what most places like that are.
Yeah, it's pretty small. And did they
Like,
not?
will they count that then? You know how we were talking about Cardinals attendance and how it's way down
Mhm.
and how the Colorado Rockies are outdrawing.
It's just-
this can't
It's
count.
11,000, by the way. It's 11,000.
Okay. Because
Yes, but it does. That's what the attendance is. It counts against them. So in there, if they sell out, their attendance is
Wow.
11,000. And
Well,
and
that was one of the problems because the way players get paid in the postseason is playoff shares.
Right.
You don't get like an extended salary because your season gets extended. The only way players get money in the playoffs is by playoff shares. Playoff shares is connected to attendance and ticket revenue. So there was a lot of discussion about both the A's and the Rays that if they were to get into the postseason, would they try to put those games in different venues?
But they decided
allow
not
a
to,
large-
right?
They decided not to.
yeah,
so
they were going to play in that
those-
minor league park.
Yep. So if it doesn't look likely they'll make the postseason, but if they were to, those players will get paid basically less than players for other teams will get paid.
Honestly, wouldn't that not be something if you've got this stadium that seats 11,000 people and that is a playoff stadium? You've got series, you've got at least a couple of games happening.
So I know we were
That would just have been nuts.
not to stick too long on the attendance topic, but I really do believe what I said earlier this week, which I think Ron agrees with me, that you can complain or name all the reasons why Cardinals fans aren't showing up like they usually do this season. You can say crime, they don't want to drive downtown, parking's too expensive. And I say winning erases all of those excuses.
Mhm.
You know, fans will show up when the team is winning, but I guess the caveat would be, except for in Florida, why don't fans show up for the Rays?
Well, Matt, you've been down there to Tampa. That's a really crappy ballpark to get to. It's just not a great location.
Yeah, it's a bad location, and they're going to get a new ballpark. I think at some point when this new ownership group comes in, that's going to get a little bit. They're going to play better with local government officials than the current group. Yeah, but it's always been that way. I'm not convinced that you're ever going to get huge crowds in Tampa or Miami for Major League Baseball. It's kind of the way things are, unfortunately, down there. Even when they're winning, and you know, I think when you're talking about postseason and things like that, obviously they always had really great crowds. But just for an average Tuesday night game, I don't think it really matters how good they are. Now, on the other side of it, you go look at like a place like Toronto, where this year they're really good, but historically they have not been especially good. That place rocks and rolls every single night, whether the team's good or bad. Colorado's another spot. They are a terrible baseball team, but people show up to Coors Field. And it's not because of baseball. Like, I thought it was, I got frustrated the other day when people said, oh my gosh, the Cardinals attendance is worse than the Rockies. How embarrassing is that? Well, if you understood what's going on in Colorado, you would understand that what you're paying a cover charge to go to a bar. And that's what it is at Coors Field. People don't show up to Coors Field for the baseball. People show up for the environment, the view. They blew out the entire upper right field section a few years back and put in like a party deck up there where you can't even see the field. It's just a big bar. So that's why people go. But there are ways to get people into ballparks, even when the team's not winning. I don't know if in St. Louis that's ever going to be possible because Cardinals baseball and winning Cardinals baseball is so important to people in the city.
So that is they've got the Bud Terrace, which has been up there for several years now. So it's a similar kind of thing, but you could still see the game from up there, but it's a place to go and hang out. You know, it's not like sitting in your seats. I think it is a different market in that way, Matt, don't you? And I don't think it's just about, well, we demand winning. My impression is there are a few more families that go to Cardinals games. You've got people who are traveling from other cities coming into town, and they are more likely to go if the team is good than they are to, come from Arkansas if the team's not very good. So because they rely on the out-of-towners so much, doesn't that affect the way they would be able to attract fans? Like, would you be able to attract them if you said, we're just turning Busch Stadium into a big bar now?
There'd be a certain demographic that would come in, but I think your core customer, no. And you mentioned the outer markets. There's two things. You think about the groups and, how many church groups, how many Kiwanis clubs, things like that, maybe not even in the St. Louis area, who make an annual trip into St. Louis, have maybe scrapped it this year. That's one part of it. And then, just the fact that the Cardinal Nation footprint does expand, obviously, to Oklahoma and Arkansas and Iowa and all these places where if the excitement and fervor for the team is not what it normally is, those people might not make the decision to drive 3, 4, 5, 6 hours into St. Louis multiple times a summer.
All right. So this trip is happening. The Florida trip continues. They took 2 of 3 from Miami. And at this point of the year, Matt, how much are you concerned with the outcome of games?
I want them to win.
Well, but I asked the question. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
It's not a stupid question. It's because this is probably not going to be a playoff team, right? And unless they go on some incredible run, and I think we're looking toward the future. So, how important are the outcomes to you?
I'll just say, like my take on your question. Tell me if you're right, but if you're giving young players a chance to develop, but you're losing games versus throwing in the veterans and able to snag a few games, are you willing to lose games to give rookies and young guys more reps?
Yes, without a doubt. I'm definitely willing to do that. I also think there's value in playing games. Like right now, they're 5 games out of a playoff spot. If they're 3 games out, I think it feels a little bit different. And they're 2 games under 500.
Sure.
If they're 1 game over 500 and 3 games out of a playoff spot, our conversation is probably like, well, that door is still like slightly ajar. I would like to at least get to that slightly ajar point once again, where they're playing games that really still have some meaning and young guys get the opportunity to just experience that. The runway thing and the finding out about guys thing, there's not a lot of season left. What are we really going to learn about anybody between now and the end of the season? I'm not trying to say that it's meaningless or anything like that. It's just I don't know how much value there is at this point moving forward in all that stuff. But at the same time, it's not like it's a 6 weeks without value. And I know I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth here.
It's really interesting you say that because, September, when that month rolls around, there are the September call-ups and teams can bring up guys from the minor leagues and they expand the rosters. So when they do that, typically we were all going to want to see JJ Weatherholt. I don't know if we're going to see him, but we'd like to get a taste of that. So I think there's a lot of hope from Cardinals fans that he makes his way up to the club at some point before the year is over. So, I mean, you don't think there's a ton of value in that, or is there a little bit of value in bringing up a guy, letting him have a taste of the big leagues, even if it's only for 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's definitely value in that. I don't think they're going to call up JJ Weatherholt. And I think you can make a legit argument for both, talking on both sides of my mouth. Like the argument for is it's the Mason Wynn argument. How much value did he get from having that final month of the season a couple years ago where he knew who he was going to be moving forward and knew what the big leagues was going to be and all that sort of stuff. So 100% value. Now, John Mozeliak has talked a lot lately about a couple things when it comes to that. One of them is the 40-man spots, and one of them is the service times thing. So from the fact that a lot of these guys like a Quinn Matthews and like a JJ Weatherholt are not at a point right now where they have to be added to the roster, the 40-man roster this offseason, not putting them on the 40-man roster creates more flexibility for Chaim Bloom. And I think that's a very legitimate argument to be made, that you, as Chaim Bloom comes into his first season, totally operating the big league roster, having as many 40-man spots available for him to do as much as he wants. I think there's a ton of value in that, and probably that outweighs the value of JJ Weatherholt coming up for a final month. Now, something else that Mo has talked about a little bit, and I just kind of heard the things secondhand. I was out of town, so I didn't hear the conversation that he had with Tom on Sunday morning, but I've seen some stuff, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe at this point he talked a little bit about the service time stuff, and that's where I would push back, because there's not a whole lot of difference in bringing a guy up for the final months of the season and having a guy on the opening day roster when it comes to service time. Now, if they're planning on stashing JJ Weatherholt at AAA for the first month of the season next year to get another year of club control on him, that's a totally different conversation. But I don't get the sense that I get the sense that Weatherholt's going to be competing for a big league job. So if it's a service time thing, that's where I would probably push back a little bit.
All right, Matt, before we let you go, I know you said that, Tampa Bay fans, hard to show up because they got to drive so much. How was it for you driving 13 hours with a 6-year-old and a 14-month-old twice in 4 days?
Yeah,
13 hours.
Yeah, it was a challenge. We unfortunately had a death in the family on my wife's side, so we had to get to Colorado Springs for a funeral over the last couple of days. And my oldest, the 6-year-old, she's done that drive and she's traveled a lot in her life. Our youngest has never traveled, and she is a squirmy little thing, and she was not having it. And of the 13 hours on the way out there, she probably screamed/cried for a good 12 hours of it.
No.
On the way back, she was a little bit better. She got a nap in yesterday when we were driving back. So the return trip was not as bad, but the going there was pretty terrible.
Matt,
pretty terrible.
You can plead the fifth. Was Benadryl involved at all?
It was not. It maybe should have been, but that I don't know if it would have worked. She was on one yesterday.
She was on one. Yeah, it's not a magic drug. I mean, it takes the edge off, But
yeah. We did.
Purple
so yes,
Benadryl.
She took it to a new level after we crossed the Colorado border, and she was holding her ears. So we started to think she was probably being affected by the altitude as we were going up to close to 6,000 feet.
So that's the thing. So you don't realize that Western Kansas is like 4,000 feet.
Yeah. So we gave her Tylenol yesterday before the drive. That way, if she had ear issues, maybe that would be a little bit better. So maybe that went into it. But again, the first 8 hours of that drive, you're at sea level, so that wasn't most of the problem.
Have you considered asking her to please calm down a bit, because it's not it's just not a logical thing to do, to scream and cry and make a bunch of noise when mom and dad are trying to relax?
I'm pretty good at just tuning it out. I love my wife. That is not her strong. She has a lot of things she's good at. I've got a lot of things I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things she is not as good at is being able to just, because she's a mom. Moms react to kids crying more than dads do. It's not, mom should be that way. But yeah, she did not. I think she had a harder time with it than I did.
Oh, well, That's a rough 4 days, Matt, kind of all the way around.
Mom was like, she was probably going through all the permutations. What if we just left her here? What if we just?
I know you guys have gotta get out real quick. Did you know that because it was a military, it was a funeral with somebody who was served in the military, and they always do the military honors. Which, if you've been in one of those, that gets me every single time. But now the bugle that they play taps isn't a real bugle. It's they press a button while they have it up to their mouth or whatever, and it plays a recording of it.
I don't know what you're.
Why?
That sounds made up.
It's not that long of a song.
No, it is not. And I'm sure there are times where they still use the real one, but that's an option. So when the two military folks came in, the person put it up and pressed a button, and that's when taps play.
What is the lip syncing term for bugle playing? That doesn't seem right.
You can make it up right now. I know.
Well,
I saw that.
I'm thinking of really isn't that great of a term, honestly.
There is a thing called it's called a taps bugle. It's an electronic self-playing taps bugle that you buy. And yeah,
clearly they have a government contract.
And they're about $1,200.
Whoa.
Wow. Your tax dollars at work.
Why would you not just learn to play
it's
it?
Like 10
That's
notes.
what I was thinking. It's the Army. You can tell people to do things.
Maybe,
you, and you go to music class.
You know what? Maybe they just don't have enough people for all the funerals to do this.
Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a $1,200 bugle. Damn. Okay.
I don't even know what the
I
going
never knew
rate
about
for
that.
bugles, though.
I just looked it up. It's a real thing.
I'm gonna look at a regular bugle.
It's called
Matt,
the
this
taps
is very
bugle.
Interesting. This is as interesting as my fact that there are only 2 escalators in Wyoming.
Thanks, Matt Pauly.
You bet.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
Redbird Rush Hour at 5 o'clock with Matt and Kevin Wheeler. Then the pregame show at 5:40. 6:35 first pitch, Cardinals and Rays from Tampa Bay. And we got the Gas House Gang, Bernie Miklasz and me. That'll happen at 12 o'clock. We're going to talk to Babe Ruth's grandson on the show. Yeah. So stick around. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
This isn't your typical lunchtime baseball chatter. This is the Gas House Gang.
I'll say this. Here's my perspective.
Tom Ackerman, Chris Ronchi, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklasz bring smart, informed Cards talk. And every Tuesday,
We welcome in the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol.
you want real Cardinals conversation? You're in the right place. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of baseball.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact-check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Many people dream of learning how to play the piano. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music.
but few ever do. And here are a few of the reasons why. I can't read music, it will take too long, it's too expensive, it's too hard, or I've tried before and I failed. This would be true with most piano lessons, but not with Lacefield Music's innovative adult piano classes. With Lacefield Music's classes, you will learn how to read music and play with both your right and left hand the very first week. And you'll be able to play all your favorite songs in only 8 weeks. Maybe not fast, but you'll be able to play them. Lacefield Music's adult piano course is usually $100, but only twice a year we open this course up to the public for the low price of only $29.99. That's only $29.99 for all 8 weeks. What have you got to lose? Classes are forming now in our Chesterfield location. Call 636-778-2070 or go to lacefieldmusic.com to sign up online. That's lacefieldmusic.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It's the annual KMOX blood drive with the American Red Cross, August 21st from 2 to 7 at multiple locations. Everyone who attempts to donate receives a $15 e-gift card. Make an appointment in the Red Cross Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org and enter KMOX for a drive near you.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you. And hey, I wanted to follow up what Matt Pauley said. He went to a funeral, a family member who got military honors, and he talked about this automatic bugle. It's a taps bugle that plays taps electronically.
Yeah.
So
costs like $1,200.
It's really expensive. It's actually a really brilliant invention because 1,800 veterans who are entitled to military honors at their funeral die every day. 1,800
so
a day.
There's just no way there are enough bugle
Yeah.
players to accommodate all that. So that does make a lot of sense.
It's actually a really amazing tribute, an invention.
A text message says that along with that bit of information that Matt brought us, you mentioned that there are 2 escalators in Wyoming.
Well, yeah.
And a texter says, we are so glad you got that Wyoming tidbit in, Amy.
I was waiting. So listen.
When were you going to use this?
Texter. Well, I was going to use it as my second, did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of paused awkwardly. And I was like, is that your story? And you said, yeah. And then you just closed out the segment.
Well, we had
and I didn't get to tell my Wyoming fact.
It was time to go.
Well, there's 2 escalators in Wyoming. Do you think the Cheneys have ridden on both of them?
Liz
and her dad.
What if that's the thing to do in Wyoming? If you want to do something indoors, you have to go find the escalators.
Listen, I went to Wyoming. Not a lot of escalators. I think the airport is 1 level. Listen, I don't know if you can join
the airport.
Yeah,
there's one.
Well, in Jackson Hole,
Okay.
I don't know if you can join an airport like a country club, but I would join the Jackson Hole Airport. It's the nicest, fanciest place I've ever been.
Which is nicer, Jackson Hole or Terminal 2 at Lambert?
It is a toss-up, but because of the Tetons, I'm giving it to Jackson Hole. The view from the airport, Ranch, I would join a membership to the Jackson Hole Airport so I could just sit there and look at the view and drink a soda. They should sell memberships to the airport.
There's a security concern with that.
Well, that's why you have to buy a membership.
Yeah.
You get TSA pre-check. You have to go through
Okay.
security every time.
I would do it if it's as pretty as you say.
That could help all of the people really struggling in Jackson Hole.
Mentioned, yeah, I'm sure they're having a tough time there.
Yeah.
We mentioned the state of Texas, which has voted to redistrict, and that means that the GOP could be gaining some congressional seats. The state of Missouri, well, considering it, but they have not decided to do it. Major Garrett, chief Washington correspondent for CBS News, he will join us next on KMOX.
This is Mason Wynn of the Cards. Community America asked me to tell you what it feels like on Profit Payout Day, when our members get a portion of the profits. I'm thinking it probably feels like opening day. Exciting, new, or even better. I bet it feels like playing the star shortstop who turns a game-winning double play. And the fans go wild. They ask for selfies with you and autographs. You get a lifetime supply of free stadium hot dogs. Yep, that's basically what it feels like when you get your profit payout. Community America Credit Union. Invested in you.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Currently it's 74 degrees, but it feels like 87. Mostly sunny and beautiful today. A high of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy. A low of 65. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. PennMutual.com/STL. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's Major News with Major Garrett, our weekly conversation with CBS's chief Washington correspondent.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Every Thursday, just after 10:30, we talk to Major Garrett, the chief Washington correspondent for CBS News, and he is the host of The Takeout on CBS News 24/7. You can watch that or listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. It is really good. And Major Garrett is with us on KMOX. Good morning, Major.
Good morning. Thank you for that deep Led Zeppelin cut, The Ocean, off of Houses of the Holy. That's great. Thank you.
That is our intrepid producer, Matt Pajeski, who is 26,
Thank you, Matt. Thank
26
you. I thought
years old.
I was deathly afraid, Matt, they were going to make you play that other song we talked about last week.
No, that won't happen.
The worst song ever.
Yeah.
The worst song ever recorded.
Well,
Oh.
But
Oh,
It
God.
is.
Ranch.
Oh, Debbie Boone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You light up my life.
Yeah.
Unquestionably the worst song ever recorded.
Well,
It was so funny how quickly I said, Major, what's the worst song ever? And I didn't even get the sentence out.
Yeah.
You go, Debbie Boone, you light up my life. Like,
it was.
wow. Okay.
It was ready
like
to
you had
go.
like you had been wanting to
Yeah.
vent about it for years.
For years.
Thank God somebody finally asked.
Exactly.
All this crap going on in Washington, but this song, I can't tolerate it.
I can finally open my spleen.
Quickest answer you've ever given. He was ready to go. Oh.
Major, I know we talked about the redistricting in Texas and the Democrats who were trying to prevent the vote and they fled the state, finally came back, and it's happening now. I don't think that we were under any illusion it was going to be prevented. So now that it is a reality, what happens next?
So it's a traveling roadshow now. The traveling redistricting roadshow coming to a state near you, or maybe the state that you live in. Missouri might even be touched by it. Certainly Indiana is thinking about it. It's now in California, maybe in New York. Other parts of the country are going to re-examine their district lines in order to try to offset what the president ordered Texas to do. It was never going to be blocked. It could only be delayed. And what House Democrats in Texas hoped to do by fleeing the state, denying a quorum, and holding this in abeyance for some short period of time was to make it a national conversation, which they have succeeded in doing. They knew they could never stop it in Texas. The numbers were always against them and always would ultimately be against them. Their gambit was stop it while we can, try to elevate this to a national conversation, provoke California to get involved, and maybe other states as well. That has set off a sort of ricochet effect around the country where red states are looking at their maps, blue states are going to look at their maps, and we may have a lot of redrawing going on over the summer and fall. California's next.
Yeah, and Major, I was thinking, haven't we mandered all the Jerrys that we can? I mean, in some states, it's like Illinois, all the Jerrys have been mandered. It feels like. How far are we from being gerrymandered to the point that there's no next move?
Well, so it's a good point, Amy. About 40 districts, House districts across the country are what professionals regard as competitive, meaning they're within 7 to 5 points. Most others are not. So a lot of the partisan advantage, reflecting the partisan divisions in the country, have sort of been squeezed out of the congressional maps. That certainly happened in Texas. They didn't think that they were off base when they agreed on their congressional maps and said that they were racially consistent with the law and everything was fine. That's what Texas Republicans said a year ago about their map. But then President Trump said, no, I want 5 more districts as a hedge against possible losses elsewhere in the midterms in 2026. And Texas Republicans said, yes, sir. I guess our maps are flawed. They didn't see any flaws before. So if you really pressurize your congressional maps, you might be able to extract a few more seats for your party. There is, however, a danger in that. Every time you do that, you redraw the lines to make districts theoretically competitive for your party, Democrat or Republican. You make them a little bit more narrow in their margin of voter alignment, which means if there's a wave election, and 2026 could be, even that retooling might not be enough to withstand a wave. And that's happened in previous mid-session redistricting. Maps have been redrawn. They think it's a hedge against losses. The wave's too big. It doesn't matter at all. So the larger conversation about Medicaid, the big, beautiful bill, what Trump is doing with law enforcement, immigration, the economy, inflation, all those things in the end, net, are going to be more important than these redrawn lines. But in the interim, everyone wants to take whatever partisan advantage they can find and extract as a hedge against the future.
So when this gerrymandering conversation happens, it's always like, well, Republicans do it. Yeah, but Democrats do it too. But correct me if I'm wrong on the history here, but wasn't it just a few years ago in that John Lewis Act that there was an anti-gerrymandering? A big part of that bill was that, and it was killed on the Senate get Democrats did try to pass something here, did they not? To get rid of gerrymandering?
There were a lot of other flaws with that legislation, and that's why it never had a chance of passing. And in that conversation, Democrats were pressuring Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema of Arizona, Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Kristen Sinema of Arizona, to give up the filibuster and kill it and just pass it by simple majority vote, and they wouldn't do that because the Democrats wanted so much more partisan advantage with that legislation, and it was flawed in a lot of different ways. So the redistricting is classic in the sense that where you currently stand and what you currently believe in and advocate for is not necessarily what you advocated for 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. There was a movement in this country, California, very much a part of it, was to try to depoliticize this as much as possible, to have an independent redistricting commission where you have outside advisors, legal experts, and you try to draw the lines so they're geographically coherent. They are coherent in terms of representation. So you don't have districts that run in super long, super thin dimensionality or unnecessarily wide or do that whole salamander thing, which is how we got the term in the first place for gerrymander. And that's been a movement, a kind of reformist movement. California was very proud of it. Lots of other states have done that. And that does take some of the harshest partisanship out of this process. But that's now being completely bowled over by the intensifying politics of if you do it, we're going to do it, and it's just a ping pong back and forth. So that effort to depoliticize, or at least take some of the harsh partisanship out of it, is now falling by the wayside. And partisans are, again, exerting undue influence over another part of American political life.
Can you ever see anytime soon there being an actual real substantive push to do something about this so it isn't politicized?
So there's one step that we had Kevin Kiley on the Takeout last week. He's a congressman from Northern California. He set up legislation to basically have the Congress establish a federal prohibition against mid-session redistricting. Just do it after the census, as we have historically done. And those lines, as long as they withstand court interpretation after they're drawn after the census, are the lines for the next decade. Just do it that way. To get out of this process of re-looking at your maps just because the political winds have shifted in an unfavorable way. Whether or not he gets that out of committee, whether or not Mike Johnson puts that on the floor, whether or not the White House would support that, very unlikely. But it's a legislative conversation worth having, because voters are the ones who sort of get lost in this whole partisan fistfight. Because one of the things that people want to know is who their representative is. And they'd like to pick their representative, not have the representative pick their voters, as the cliche goes, which is what's going on now. So that's a conversation that can exist in Washington. Why don't we just do this once after the census, as our nation historically has, and leave the lines alone? That's one way to approach this. Whether that gets any traction or not, I'm not quite sure.
Major, one of the presidential appointments that saw hesitation from both the Democrats and more conservative members of the government was the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Of course, there are so many headlines, and the president himself commands a lot of those headlines, that I feel like we haven't seen her in the news that much, or at least I haven't. But yesterday, earlier this week, I should say, she decided to trim her staff, the entire office, by 40%, which is a big chunk of the office. Is this, what do you make of this move? Significant or just a bit of a bluster?
Probably long overdue. I've done a fair amount of reading about the Director of National Intelligence and the bureaucracy that is built up around it. And that office was created by Congress after 9/11. Why? Because there was a rear view mirror assessment that the intelligence community was not collaborating enough, that information was too siloed in each individual agency and nobody knew or could see the big picture. So it was decided, as many things were after 9/11, through the rear view mirror of what happened, what was missed, why did 9/11 occur. We need better coordination. So we need a small office. That was the original construct, a small office to get all of these intelligence reports and then distribute them across the community. A small office. That was the original intent. The Director of National Intelligence and the bureaucracy around it has grown exponentially every year. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's in the tens of thousands of people. And lots of think tanks on the left and the right have said, this is absurd. This has nothing to do with the original congressional intent. It doesn't help. There's been vast mission creep, people there who have jobs, get paid a lot of money, don't even know what they're doing or what the mission is or their purpose. So I believe that the Director of National Intelligence and the bureaucracy has been ripe intellectually as a policy matter, forget the politics, for cutting back dramatically. And the Biden administration never did it. The Obama administration never did it. Bush administration never did it. Now the Trump administration is. That may be more political than policy. There may be some retribution in there. I don't know, but it could definitely stand to be smaller.
So when we talked last week, we discussed the National Guard being deployed in Washington, D.C., because I believe he called it a war zone, and more states are sending National Guard troops to D.C. So this is, it's not settled down any. What's it like there now? I mean, how is this going over? I know the locals aren't happy about it.
No, the locals are not happy about it. And there is in any society, there's always a give and take between security and intimidation, and a sense that you're just menaced, that there's just people around all over the place and nothing's disrupted, nothing is unsafe. Why are big armored vehicles rolling down my streets? That's a kind of conversation that's happening in every ward of Washington, D.C. And the National Guard forces still don't know exactly what they're doing. They don't have arrest powers. They are currently not yet armed, though they might be. The arrival of the other National Guard forces from other states. I talked to Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, for the takeout about this earlier this week. And the whole hour-long interview is available on our YouTube page and our podcast platform. It's very, very interesting. We touch a lot of things. But he said, look, is there a crime problem in the District of Columbia? Yes. Should the federal government, because Washington, D.C. is a federal district, apply political pressure to get them to do a better job? Yes. Can it and should it offer some reinforcements to help in specific instances? Sure. But if you start deploying the National Guard, and moreover, governors from red states who just want to perform and please President Trump, his words, not mine, sending their National Guard forces, where does it end? Where does this philosophical idea that I think there's a problem in some local government and I'm going to solve it at the federal government end? Tom Tillis's point was it never ends. It's a slippery slope, and the federal government starts getting in everybody's business and starts militarizing the streets and disrupting things that have a better way to be solved. I think that's an important conversation to have in Washington. It's certainly going to be what Congress considers, because the president's powers, as so asserted, only last 30 days. To assert them again, he has to get Congress's approval, which means people are going to have to debate this, and they're going to debate it when they get back here in September.
Major, you mentioned the takeout earlier. Is that your most recent takeout, or you have another one ready?
No. So, and this is part of the evolving conversation for the show, because for 8 years, the takeout was a once-a-week event. Now it's 5 nights.
Yep.
Okay. So it's a 5-night-a-week show, and what you see on the show is the TV part of the show. Mm-hmm. But there is a whole other podcast life of the show. So we put parts of the Tom Tillis interview on the show last night, 4 different clips. But as I told the audience, that isn't even 25% of our conversation. So the full conversation, unedited as always, that's my promise, always has been to my audience, I don't get in the way. Everything that is said, you get to see and evaluate on your terms, not mine. That's on the YouTube page. It's on all the podcast platforms, and it's supplementary to the show. The show is always on the podcast of the Showcast, but every long-form interview we do, we add it to the feed so you can listen to it, or you can watch it on YouTube whenever you want to.
Amy and I don't edit our podcasts either, except for the parts we screw up.
Yeah, we only take out where we sound bad.
Yeah. So just as a teaser.
Yeah.
So we had lunch in Cornelius, North Carolina, at a very nice restaurant near Lake Norman, just outside of Charlotte. And the entree for both Tom Tillis and I was barbecue chicken and collard greens. I'm talking to Tillis. He's cutting up his chicken. I start to cut up my chicken, but I have my knife upside down. Okay? So Tillis, seeing a big fat opening, says, that'd work better if you use the serrated edge. And I said, Every senator I've ever met always wants a cheap shot. You're just a cheap shot artist like every other senator. And he says, no, you reporters are full of cheap shots. Anyway,
that's really good.
It's fun. It's right in the middle of the conversation.
That's awesome.
And that's what I try to do.
That's great.
I try to make a conversation that's about politics and serious things, but always leaves room for something a little on the lighter side. And him hassling me about my corn knife skills.
I love it because like a lot of the podcasts about 50 minutes, maybe give or take. This one's a bit longer, just over an hour.
Yeah. And no breaks.
Awesome.
One of the great things about the new format is we don't have to drop it in for radio shows like we did for so long. So it's a continuous conversation.
Well, Major, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you so much that we have a gift for you as we say goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The worst.
But this is how we feel about you, Major.
It's irretrievably bad.
This is how we. Yes, Amy's right. When we call you up on Thursdays at 10:30, this is how we feel about you.
We're not supposed to tell you this, Major. I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but we have a framed picture of you on the desk, and every day before the show, we play this song and hold hands.
Yeah.
While we look at the picture
And
of
we
you.
burn incense. And there's always at least one sacrifice. Major Garrett, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
All righty, guys. See ya.
Major Garrett, Chief Washington correspondent for CBS News and the host of The Takeout on CBS News 24/7. Watch it. Get the full thing, the podcast. You should listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Six iconic names, 2 bobbleheads, 1 unforgettable night. Join us Friday, September 5th as the Cardinals face off with the Giants and celebrate the 1985 National League Championship. That night, 20,000 fans 16 and older will take home one of 2 1985 triple bobbleheads, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. Whether it's the legendary Coleman, McGee, and Smith, or the iconic Tudor, Cox, and Andujar, you won't want to miss your chance to get this unique triple bobblehead. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
Head to the stadium on Saturday, September 6th, when the Birds host the Giants. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will score a limited edition Hall of Fame baseball card shirt, thanks to Edward Jones. This all-over print shirt features McGee, Forsch, Tudor, Coleman, the Wizard, Whitey, and her. It's a giveaway you won't want to miss. That's Saturday, September 6th. Get tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-220-6409 now. drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-220-6409. That's 800-220-6409. What do you have to lose? Call 800-220-6409. Again, 800-220-6409.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
And we're very fortunate at Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman to have the only endometrial cancer spore. So we are actually doing a $15 million grant that is housed here under Dr. Much to actually evaluate uterine cancer.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun. All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your 2, big Q2. Roll and makes a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Are you watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter? If you're not, you can.
If you are, I'm glad you're here.
We're glad you're here. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji.
Hey, guess what we're doing later today?
Giving away Blues tickets?
Yeah, in the next hour. You got to keep listening. Not now. Don't call now. Put the phone down.
Yeah, you dingus. It's too early for this.
Too early, but we are giving away tickets, and they're not just tickets.
What are they, Amy?
Home opener, season
Tell 'em,
opener
Amy.
to the Minnesota Wild.
Tell them, Amy.
Against the Minnesota Wild on October 9th. Your St. Louis Blues, who have a huge chip on their shoulder.
Huge chip. We are going to do that. And then tomorrow also. So if you miss out today, like you try and you lose, which you're probably going to.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
And
if it doesn't happen for you today, it could still happen for you tomorrow.
Yeah. You're probably going to lose tomorrow, to be honest.
So Amy imparted to us a bit of wisdom about the state of Wyoming, that there are only 2 escalators in the entire state, which does stand to reason. And Ian is watching us on YouTube and says, growing up in Montana, we had 2 escalators in the state in the 90s, and it was legitimately something I rode for fun.
I love it. I love it.
So if there are, I wonder how many are in Montana now. If there were 2 in the 90s, there have to be more. Like 8.
Okay, here's a question about Montana. Here's why I'm not sure if I believe there are only 2 escalators. Well, in the state of Wyoming, because here's what I was thinking. There's some pretty fancy homes in Wyoming, but I bet they have elevators, not escalators.
Yeah.
I think you put elevators in homes, not escalators.
I've never seen an escalator in a house.
Why? But maybe it's time to start.
There would just be no purpose whatsoever for an escalator in a house.
Yes, there would be, because it's stairs. Because like right now you have to have an elevator and stairs. But if you have an escalator, it's an elevator and stairs all in one. And if there's a fire, you can still take the escalator.
Here's why. Because people who need an elevator, they probably need to transport things up a floor. An escalator is not going to help you do that. You need an elevator for it.
Jerry rig it.
Text message from an 817 says, thank you, Amy, for the hard-hitting Wyoming news. This is why KMOX won the Murrow. Thank you from Jeff in Tulsa. See, Jeff gets it.
I think I really struck a chord.
Festival of Nations is coming back this weekend. It is happening at Tower Grove Park. The Vice President of Development with the International Institute of St. Louis, David Gonzalez, with us next in studio on KMOX.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for Breaking News. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Are you not spending enough time in your outdoor space? Do you have friends or neighbors who spend a lot of time outdoors? It's because they have an incredible setup with a nice deck or a sunroom or a screen room, a good canopy or a patio with a pergola with adjusting slats. I mean, they've just got it decked out so that you could just spend all that time in the summer or the fall or the winter. You can have that too if you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And whether you're looking for a fence, a deck, a patio, a pergola, whatever it is, from a simple project to a complete outdoor space makeover, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been in business for 57 years with an incredible reputation. They do great work. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. Just dream of what your outdoor space could be and how much time you could spend out there. If you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. It is 11 o'clock, and right now we've got sunshine and 75 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. Is Missouri set to redraw its congressional map? We go live to KMOX's Sean Malone.
Well, Debbie, earlier this morning, Donald Trump, in a post on his social media site, Truth Social, singled out Missouri, saying the great state of Missouri is now in. Not outright talking about redistricting, but certainly referencing it, especially when he points to the midterm elections in his post, saying that they will win the midterms again in Missouri, bigger and better than ever before. We asked Governor Mike Kehoe this morning about that post, and while at first he said he thought it was about the FBI, I followed up asking him if he has given a commitment to President Donald Trump that Missouri will redraw the congressional map. Here's his response.
We haven't had any direct conversation with the president about the maps or what that's going to look like.
Kehoe says when they do make a decision on whether or not to redraw the maps, he will announce it. Live in St. Louis, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The two congressional seats held by Democrats in Missouri are in St. Louis and Kansas City. The new maps would redraw Emanuel Cleaver's district. The current map was approved in 2022 after a bitter fight between Republicans. There's no end in sight in the union strike against Boeing.
That's what Brian Bryant is saying, the president of the IAM, the union that represents 3,200 Boeing workers, into their second week of the strike.
The committee is prepared to go back to the table and present those to the Boeing company to get our members, their employees, back to work.
But Boeing has not. There's been no chatter between Boeing and the union.
No.
Some of the workers tell me they saw Boeing give Seattle workers what they want, like progressive pay, where the paychecks increase with the rate of inflation, and better 401ks. At the picket line outside Boeing headquarters, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
More people filed for unemployment benefits last week, up by 11,000 to 235,000 for the week ending August 16th. The Labor Department reports the number of people collecting unemployment benefits for the previous week jumped to 1.97 million, the highest since November of 2021. CBS News contributor and business editor at the Dallas Morning News, Javier David.
Unemployment rate is pretty steady around above 4%, but it's getting harder for people without jobs to find employment. And recent college grads are stuck, and job switchers, forget about it. Like, you just can't, if you've been laid off for economic reasons, you're stuck where you are.
The winner of the Gateway Arch National Park Research Center mural competition is Jillian Kay. The St. Louis artist's winning concept features illustrated stamps depicting westward expansion, the Arch, Dred and Harriet Scott, Lewis and Clark, and more. Kay will install her mural in the Research Center's Archives Reading Room, located in the old post office. She wins $5,000 plus up to $2,500 for supplies. And the weather is sponsored for you by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. It is going to be absolutely gorgeous. We can't complain about the weather.
A comfortable afternoon with more sun than clouds and a high of 80. Tonight will turn out mainly clear, though 68. More sun than clouds tomorrow, high 85. For Saturday, intervals of clouds and sun, the high 86. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny and 75 degrees right now. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
This weekend, the 23rd and 24th, is the Festival of Nations returning to St. Louis. And to discuss what is coming up and what happens at the Festival of Nations is the Vice President of Development with the International Institute of St. Louis. It is David Gonzalez joining the show. David, good to have you in studio. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Great. I'm excited, ready to get this festival going. Let's do it.
I know that months ago there was some concern that this may not even happen just because of some of the funding cuts, the federal funding cuts. So first of all, let's start there. How did we get to this point where we're able to have the event after all?
Yeah, I think the International Institute, like a lot of nonprofits locally and nationally, are trying to cope with the new funding methods that are going on, or the cuts in funding, especially on the federal level. So for us, we experienced that, and we were really trying to make sure that our resources were helping those clients that we serve, those immigrants and refugees who are coming to our community to build better lives. And so we had to take a hard look at some of those ancillary things, a lot of events, a lot of things that are nice to do. And we took a long, hard look at the festival. But thankfully, we had so much outpouring from the community. There was really a need amongst community members, they felt, to have this event, to celebrate what makes St. Louis great, our history of culture, multiculturalism. And as I was sharing with some other folks, the business community stepped up, and we had some great sponsors this year, including Volkswagen, which I'm very excited about, as well as Enterprise Mobility and RGA, to name a few.
Excellent. And I want to get into the Festival of Nations itself. But just from the International Institute, looking back at how different immigrant communities enrichen St. Louis so much, and just the depth, the culture that we have in our city. And I remember, obviously, everybody does, but world events affects our city, affects who comes here. So we had a lot of Bosnians coming to St. Louis. At the International Institute, do you see almost like clear-cut waves of what's going on in the world, and then maybe some of the people that you see coming to the International Institute here in St. Louis?
Yeah, that's a great observation, Amy. So when we first started, almost over 100 years ago, our first clients were folks displaced by World War I. Wow. So we saw a lot of families, widows coming from Eastern Europe, Western Europe. And so that was kind of the impetus to get our organization started. And you're 100% correct. During the Vietnam War, a good friend of mine, his wife's family came over during that time. And so unfortunately, as there are global conflicts and things happening, we do see a spike. Of course, most recently in 2020 and 2021, a lot of refugees from Afghanistan coming to our community.
So we've talked about that too, and how lately there are concerns on the parts of immigrants, and I know there are businesses in town that rely on immigrants to work and that sort of thing, and that the International Institute has sort of had a pivot in a way about when it comes to getting people to come to St. Louis from somewhere else. I know that there's an effort to get people from other markets to end up wanting to live in St. Louis as opposed to being in Pittsburgh or whatever else. So what is that pivot like?
Well, first of all, I would say, again, to Amy's comments, anti-immigration feelings are nothing new for our community or for our nation. So I think that there's always a little bit of resistance or uncertainty about people coming into our community. Are they going to change the culture? What's going to happen? But, when you look at the economics of it all, our city, the St. Louis region, continues to struggle with population decline. So how do we get more people here? How do we get people to buy homes, to support the zoo and the art museum, and to take open jobs? And so really for our community to be more welcoming and compete with the Pittsburgh, and we're much better than Pittsburgh, of course.
Well, come on.
That's a bad example.
I mean, obviously, I'm just saying, I threw it out there.
I mean, God. I don't even think we need to sell that. We're better than Pittsburgh.
Somewhere someone in Pittsburgh is like,
no one is
hey.
like someone like, that's it. I'm not going to the festival. No, we welcome everyone, including people from Pittsburgh. I don't know how this turned into that, but
you started it. It's not my fault.
I don't know. But in all seriousness, I think it's interesting when it comes to things like immigration and refugees. We love to hold up the success stories, but sometimes we're a little hesitant when it comes to do the work. But I think, it was even Ronald Reagan who said immigration is our superpower, right? The reason why we're so dominant on the world stage is because we draw the best and brightest from all over the world. And in order for us to continue to be a great country, we need to continue to do that.
With the Festival of Nations, then celebrating all of this cultural heritage, does the Festival of Nations focus on St. Louis families, businesses, and neighborhoods, or is it really just like, no, this is just a celebration of the world in general? Does it have a St. Louis specific tie?
Absolutely. So this year we have over 24 performances on Saturday and Sunday. And a lot of those performances are local people who are highlighting their culture. For example, we have the St. Louis Flamenco Society, right? I mean, these are people who just, are really into, their dance, and they want to highlight it. And this is a great way to do that. And, there might be someone who's there. It might be you, Amy, who says like, hey, I think I could do that. And next thing you know, you're in a flamenco class.
Which I will not. I have some friends of mine who tried to teach me salsa. They gave up after like 20 minutes. He's like, I'm a professional dancer in Mexico and you are hopeless.
Well, no one is hopeless.
That's true.
That's not true. There are some people just entirely hopeless.
But it is, you have to be exposed to it.
Right.
That is so amazing.
Yeah. But just to get back to your question, so many of the vendors there, we have over 150 vendors and exhibitors there this weekend. And a lot of them are small local businesses. They're entrepreneurs. They're people who've come to this country and who are like, hey, look, I've got a great talent for this and I'd like to show it. I'm an excellent cook. I'd love to share my cuisine with you. That's how we break down walls, is we share cuisine, we break bread with each other. And so, a lot of our businesses really depend on this weekend. These are small businesses. These are locally owned restaurants. We have over 100,000 people who come in. So for them, this is just a great weekend to not only sell and promote their product, but to get people aware of where they're located here in the region.
I also think it's great. Like, I think we had my good friend on, Julio, who owns ZB Market. He's from Peru originally, and we were talking about how traveling is character building. You need to travel around the world and see places and see people and different cultures.
Yeah.
But it can be expensive. He gave us some great tips on how to do it on a budget, but it can be expensive. This is like traveling.
Absolutely.
You can go and literally immerse yourself in micro bits in all these different cultures.
Right. And so people always ask me, what are your festival tips? So my festival tip is get your friends, get your family, get in a couple of lines for vendors, get 5, 6, 7 different things. Just sit down, listen to some great music, enjoy some great weather, and just share food, right? Sample food from the Philippines, from Ecuador, from Kenya. Just sit there, try something new, try some old favorites. This is just going to be a fabulous weekend. I'm sure families are stressed out from the first week of school. This is a great way to be outside, run around a little bit, and experience Tower Grove Park.
And like you said, it'll be nice weather this weekend.
Nice weather.
Well,
but-
I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah.
well,
Raj,
yeah,
don't.
hoping,
Knock on
yeah.
wood.
Well, at least it's not going to be 115, is what I'm saying.
Well.
Yes.
But if so, the vendors that you've got this year, how do they compare to years past? How much has it grown? Where are we now?
Yeah, so the vendors are a little bit less than last year, and I think as we talked about at the beginning, we just started late. We had 3 months
Right.
where we had to get vendors in, we had to make some important cost-cutting decisions. So I think in terms of promoting it early on, we were kind of tentative, and so I think for some vendors, they do this across the country, and so for some of them, they're booking shows in Kansas City and maybe even Pittsburgh, if you can imagine. We're just gonna keep coming
Stupid
to
Pittsburgh.
And so when they schedule these things, they do it months in advance, and so for them, planning staff, planning to get supplies, especially our market vendors, who a lot of them will import items from their home country, and so the time it takes to
Yeah.
do that, to clear them through customs, to get them to St. Louis, all that stuff, it takes a lot of time, and so when we weren't able to open up vendor applications until May or June, by then a number of our vendors already had plans.
So to do all this stuff you're talking about, how much more time did it take than normal?
Well, I mean, it didn't. So I think the honest answer is there's some things that we talked about having that we would have loved to put more effort in. This is a free festival, but one of the ways that we're able to pay for it is sponsorship. I think, by having, if we were able to plan a little bit earlier, we could have gotten more sponsors, more support from the corporate community. Our VIP experience is something else that we do to drive revenue. We didn't really have the adequate time to set that up as much as we'd like. It's still going to be a great experience, and VIP tickets are still on sale. But those are some things that we would have loved to invest in. I think with this year, with some uncertainty around budget and some cuts, we just really needed to focus on the key things, which is safety, making sure we have good representation, making sure, bathrooms are there, all the amenities that you need to have a safe, free, and fun festival.
And again, as you mentioned, it is free to attend the Festival of Nations, August 23rd and 24th. That's Saturday and Sunday coming up, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. You mentioned the VIP experience, which does sound really cool, and like it could just the experience itself plus a couple of 4 hands drinks per day, water and soft drinks, that can pay for itself pretty quickly.
Absolutely. So we talked about the weather last year when it was 100 whatever. The VIP experience is great because you can go in the Piper Palm House and it's air conditioning, and you had all those things. You could still do that, and that's great. And I think especially from a family perspective, if you have young children and you have to do a diaper change, or they just need a place to chill and deregulate, having that VIP experience is huge because you can just go there, take a breather, get a drink, sample some food, get a free gift bag, and go back to the festival grounds.
I love gift bags.
I like a good gift bag.
They're my favorite.
No, it's so fun.
Festival of Nations, again, is this weekend, 23rd, 24th, as Amy mentioned, 10 to 7 Saturday, 10 to 6 on Sunday. Festofnations.com is the website if you want to get all the information. Is there anything else that you want people to know before we say goodbye?
Yeah, no, definitely check out the website. You can see the listing of all the performers. You can also see a listing of our vendors and where they're going to be. Again, please bring the family. You can also bring your pets. I know a lot of people like to bring their dog, so your dog, or I guess your cat, can enjoy some outdoors as well.
Put the cat on a leash.
I don't know. I mean that's you could say that.
This guy, this producer over here, he talks about Festival of Nations all year long.
When I lived right next to it, it was my favorite food activity of the entire year. Yeah, and I would be there for both days. It's awesome.
And he would bring his cat on a leash.
Well, we look for what's your cat's name?
I do not have a cat either.
Oh, okay. Well, this is all lies. He doesn't have a cat. We all love Pittsburgh. This is just a house.
Cats are not great, David. Don't.
Pittsburgh's gonna find out about this some way.
Great.
Somehow.
No, they don't know what's going on. They barely speak English in Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
What
they
is
can't
the,
understand what's happening.
The Pittsburgh accent?
It's like, let's go home, everyone. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. It's pretty close to the Philly accent.
I just don't like the Pirates. Come on.
Nobody likes the Pirates. The Pirates fans don't even like the Pirates.
No, they don't.
Anyway, Festival of Nations is happening this weekend.
Do you
All are welcome.
want to run this show, David? It's off the rails.
This is my fault.
Oh, the Onion's article is that the Pirates were in trouble for directly marketing the team to children.
Yes, that was the Pirates under fire for directly marketing team to children is a really good headline. Okay, festofnations.com. That's the website. Check out everything there and go to it. Tower Grove Park, Saturday and Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. both days. David Gonzalez with the International Institute of St. Louis. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Enjoy the weekend.
All right.
It's Chris and Davey on KMOX.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Hey, Illinois. This is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. Sorry, St. Louis. This message is for our friends in the Metro East. Did you know that most Missouri-based tree contractors can't legally travel into Illinois? This is due to federal motor carrier regulations that require large trucks and their drivers to be registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration in order to travel across state lines. Almost all other tree services in Missouri fail to meet the requirements for safety, drug and alcohol testing, and equipment maintenance that are required for interstate travel. Here at Timberline, we meet and exceed all of these requirements and will be glad to travel across the river to meet all of your tree care needs. Call us today at 636-479-7475 for tree fertilization, pruning, insect and disease treatment, or complete removal. Or visit our website at stltreecare.com. That's stltreecare.com for service in the Metro East area.
Refresh, restore, and protect your employees and customers. Call Zero Res to clean your business the right way so your floors and surfaces stay cleaner longer without the harmful chemicals the other guys use. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
This is Chris responding to the question about the
soda when you get all the flavors. This goes back over 50 years ago, working at the old boathouse at Forest Park. I didn't work at the little hot dog stand, their refreshment stand. I worked on the docks, but my sister worked at the stand, and I remember her talking about people ordering suicide. They called it suicide. All the flavors are out of the soda fountain machine. Suicide.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not the best name for it.
It's kind of a grim
It's
name.
super grim, but we're talking about, the soda. When you get the cup and you go to the soda machine and you put a little bit of each kind of soda into the same cup, I guess it's called a suicide. Somebody said it was a kamikaze.
Also grim. I feel like they're on those are very much related names. They're very, very much related. I think I know Chris. I think Chris was the bicycle guy at Forest Park. Remember the guy that used to rent bicycles at the visitor center for years and years?
I do not.
He would be setting up in the morning, pulling the bikes out of his van and lining them all up, and people would rent bikes and go around the park.
I did not know about that.
Yeah.
That seems like a fun activity.
He did
It
it
sounded
for
like he was out
years.
in the sticks. You heard the bugs in the background.
I was picturing like the marshy part of Forest Park.
That sounded very Louisiana, didn't it?
Very marshy, very swampy.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Maybe he's in like a duck blind. Is that what those are called?
Yeah, but if he was
Where
in a duck,
his head is sticking out and he's calling us.
he wouldn't be talking.
Yeah, he
You don't want to
would.
scare the ducks away. That's the whole point
It's
of it.
too late for
You're
ducks.
trying to be blind. It's not. Well, I guess it's not called a duck deaf, though, is it? Because they can hear. All right.
Do you feel bad about that?
Terrible.
Okay.
That's the worst I felt in at least a week.
Yeah.
Amy, we are giving away tickets
Now,
to see the Blues and the
Now.
Wild on the opener October 9th.
be the sixth caller right now. 314-955-1120. That's the contest line.
955-1120.
No other line will work.
Right. You can call the other line and you'll get crickets from us or
from
cicadas
Chris.
or whatever. So I was in Illinois yesterday. It was my mom's birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Pam.
Yeah, she had a nice birthday because she got to see me, obviously.
Whatever.
But I was coming back over the Poplar Street Bridge and, looking at the city skyline, I looked for one thing. There's only one thing. It's not the arch. It's not Busch Stadium. It's not that .400 building or whatever it's called.
Oh, I know what it is.
I looked up
Yeah.
at the Millennium Hotel
Yes, sir.
just to check and see if the weeds are still there.
And
They are there, and they look like they are flourishing.
because they had some trespassers.
They had some trespassers, and we did have an update on that. Remember from a couple of weeks ago, it made news that there were some people hanging out on the roof of the tall tower, the skinny tall tower of the Millennium Hotel, and there were people hanging out on the roof. And a man was having dinner, and he looked up and saw people up there, and then he filmed it. And it was a
It was a great interview with the news because he said, I saw some people on the roof, but I wasn't sure because I'd had a couple drinks.
Yes.
He said he was a couple drinks in.
And my first thought is, oh no, they're going to take my weeds.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They are still up there. But I don't know if it was these people. It wasn't, because it just happened on Sunday that a couple of people have been arrested for breaking in to the Millennium Hotel. They reported a burglary in progress. They found backpacks, burglary tools, a cutting saw, large spools of wire, and several places where copper and brass pipe had been cut and removed.
Okay. Can you describe to me the punctuation in that sentence? Because is it burglary tools, comma,
Burglary tools are to get, it's a thing. Burglary tools.
and all those other things?
Yes.
So those other things don't fall under the umbrella of burglary tools? What?
This is the story from Fox
Read the
2.
punctuation, please.
Okay. Backpacks, comma, burglary tools, comma, a cutting saw, comma, large spools of wire, comma, and several places where copper and brass pipe had been cut and
Okay.
removed.
To be honest, I would have thought all those things were burglary tools, like a cutting saw and wire. Is there a burglary set? What's a burglary
Yeah, so
tool? You know what I mean?
On Amazon, there is. It includes a mask. It includes gloves. It includes
Right?
a black and white striped shirt.
Yeah. Yes.
So
That's the hamburglary tools. I'm looking
Correct.
for just burglary tools. I just didn't know it was its own category.
So Daniel J. Boyer and Bradford L. Corbett, they were arrested inside the hotel. And
Okay.
you guys look, I hope that everything turns out well and you're rehabilitated later in life. But you better stay the hell away from my weeds.
Yeah, don't
because
touch his weeds.
I'm getting those weeds.
Burglary tools, a pick lock, a master key, ceramic spark plugs, a tension bar, floor safe door puller, glass breaking tools, a screwdriver, pliers, Slim Jim bolt cutters, any other burglary tool. Okay. Lock picking devices, crowbars, sledgehammers, key bits, explosives, climbing ropes, and lock picking kits.
What is an attention bar? Is that if I'm not listening to you, you get the bar out?
Not an attention bar.
Oh, what is it?
Attention bar. A tension bar, not a
Hey,
tension.
pay attention to me, or I'm getting the bar.
I need one of those.
What's a Slim Jim?
It's like a beef stick. Yep.
Is that in case you get hungry while you're
you
burglarizing?
gotta have a little snack, little protein.
You need protein when you burglarize.
for your to burgle. You gotta have some
Yeah.
protein to burgle appropriately.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, Amy saw a good play yesterday in Kirkwood, and we're going to talk to the producer of that play. It's called Austin's Pride, and Aaron Craig will join us next on KMOX.
This isn't your typical lunchtime baseball chatter. This is the Gas House Gang.
I'll say this. Here's my perspective.
Tom Ackerman, Chris Ronchi, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklasz bring smart, informed Cards talk. And every Tuesday,
we welcome in the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol.
You want real Cardinals conversation? You're in the right place. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of baseball.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet within 125 miles. We're closer than you think. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
75 degrees in St. Louis. The AccuWeather real feel is 84. The weather is sponsored by FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Your bathroom might be small, but fixing it can feel huge. Cracked tiles, outdated fixtures, and that tub that's seen better days. Well, at Michael's Baths, we're going to get you the bathroom of your dreams at a price that you can afford. Mike usually comes in 30 to 50% less than the national companies. He is local. He is family owned and operated. He's done this for 30 30 years, and he is a great guy. 636-775-0800, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Today, the Cards, the Rays.
Ameren Total Access 540.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
So you are hearing some of the musical score from Austin's Pride. It's a new musical of Pride and Prejudice. It is a tale reimagined. So I saw Austin Pride at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center last night. I'm embarrassed to admit this. I wasn't going to admit it, but I think I need to be honest. First time ever going to the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. It's
Well, why would you be
beautiful.
embarrassed about that?
Because we've
not everybody
talked
goes to
about it.
Kirkwood.
But it's not just about Kirkwood. I mean, it's a St. Louis institution. It's a region-wide, beautiful, beautiful theater. And so with this play, Austin's Pride, they reimagined Jane Austen writing Pride and Prejudice, and they brilliantly and seamlessly intertwine Jane Austen and her own feelings as she's writing the book with the characters on stage. So you're watching Jane Austen, but you're also watching the story of Pride and Prejudice unfold. Almost you're seeing it unfold through Jane Austen's eyes. It was so much fun. I can't recommend it enough. It runs through this weekend, but I'm so honored to welcome in Erin Craig, who is the producer of Austin's Pride. I think she's traveling back to St. Louis right now. Erin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Amy. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much. And I loved listening to you talk about the show. That was so exciting.
It was so
She
fun.
didn't invite me.
No. Well, I was invited by a friend. It was perfect timing. I love Pride and Prejudice. I grew up reading it. And of all things, I started the audiobook several weeks ago just because I missed it and wanted something to listen to, just when you need a break from the world. And so being able to see Pride and Prejudice, the story, play out and see Jane Austen, the author of the story, be delighted and surprised and moved by her characters that come to life. It's so well done. When you decided, to take this job producing this play, were you familiar with Pride and Prejudice? Were you a big Jane Austen fan?
Well, no, not at all. Not at all. In fact, my story, I always have to sort of step back because there are so many brilliant people like you who love Pride and Prejudice and who love Jane Austen. But I was not one of them when I first was approached by the project. And so I love meeting people who love the stories and who love her and her life and know so much about her life. And she was so fascinating. I mean, now, like, thinking back to all that I've learned since working on the show, the fact that this woman would be celebrating her 250th birthday this year if she were still around. And yet the world is actually celebrating her 250th birthday this year. It's remarkable, and she was a person who nobody really knew her name while she was alive. They certainly didn't know that she wrote any of her novels that she did while she was alive. And when she passed, her brother made it his mission to get her name added to all of her works so that she could posthumously actually be Jane Austen. So it's just wild to think that this woman who had so much to tell and so much wit and so much love and so much passion was expressing it all through her writing and couldn't do that in her daily life in the same way. It was just fascinating. Anyway, sorry, that was not the question that you asked me.
No, I think it was. It was along those lines because, and I'll piggyback on what you said. I was so struck. Like, here's the thing. I've read all of Jane Austen's books and I love her.
Yeah.
But to see it acted out in the play and to see Jane in the centerpiece of her own novels, I think emphasized to a degree that I had not realized before just how profoundly modern Jane Austen's thinking was. This is Regency era England, where, like she points out, women are completely reliant on marriage and they don't have any rights. They don't have any say. And the fact that she was able to be honest with herself, but also criticize the system is pretty radical.
Yeah. Yep. I love that you got all of that. You're like reading the mind. I mean, it's fantastic. That's what we love to hear. The writers really knew Pride and Prejudice really well when they started to write it. It's written by two women, Amanda Jacobs and Lindsay Warren Baker. And when they set out to write this musical, they wanted to write a musical about Pride and Prejudice. And they then went on a journey around the UK to travel the story of Pride and Prejudice. And when they finally then went to Jane Austen's house where she actually wrote, and she was in Chawton House, and they were in Chawton House, and they got to her writing room, and they all of a sudden were inspired that she needed to actually be in the story. So that's how that came to pass originally. And then as the show has evolved over time, of course, the musical has evolved story-wise in such a way that, like you said, she really is that primary character. And I think from someone who didn't know Pride and Prejudice, my way into the story was watching this human being, this woman talking to her sister, being asked to write something new and not knowing what to do. I got to go on a journey with a human. And that happened to be Jane Austen, who had all these ups and downs as she went through her work. And being an artist, that just adds to it, right? And the joy of it. But I fell in love with the show, which has then led me to learn more about Jane and also Pride and Prejudice. And I just think, having the opportunity to put some of these female characters forward who are so strong and yet then vulnerable and able to admit their mistakes and their flaws while also remaining strong and finding their place in the world. Like it's just super exciting. And I'm not downplaying the gentlemen in the show. I will say they're all fantastic too. And those characters are also amazing.
I will say there is a song, Fine Eyes. I guess that's the name of it, with Mr. Darcy singing. My heart actually stopped at one point because his voice was so stunning. And I think everybody in the theater knew something extraordinary had happened with that song. I mean, that was amazing too. Such a beautiful song.
That's so nice. Yeah,
Did you cry?
Wonderful.
I did not. I almost cried.
Okay.
I could have because it was so emotional. But I mean, for you to be the producer, like you said, not really being the Jane Austen fan stereotype, you are walking into a world that's like Star Wars fans. You know how they're like super intense and they know all the details and what's canon and what counts and what doesn't. Were you nervous about going?
Well, not as crazy as Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans are insane.
Jane Austen fans have period specific.
There are no
costumes.
Jane Austen Kevin Wheelers out there. That's what I'm talking about.
Be.
He's nuts.
Were you intimidated, Aaron?
That's funny.
The Star Wars.
Star Wars. No, I love it. I'm like, I'll take it if it's that big of an industry. Let's go. Let's do it. No, because I had great partners. Yeah. The writers know the story so well. Our director knew the story and loved the story so much that I was able to retain my place of not knowing. And then that way we were able to actually build a story and a musical that appealed to both sides. So that it wasn't just about building a musical that was for people who love Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice or Pride and Prejudice, but also just for the general public. And that was really important to me in looking forward with the piece, is like, how do you get the largest audience and where do you find the ability for people to come in? And of course, the low-hanging fruit are the lovers, right? But hopefully, and we found that in St. Louis. It's been such a wonderful audience in St. Louis. Oh my gosh, people have come back multiple times. People who didn't know the stories were like, I just love that Jane Austen, or I love what the story is. And you used something in your introduction where you said it was a and I'm sorry, I think I might mess up the words, so correct me, but something about like it's an escape. It's a joyful moment in time where you get to go into the story and you come out the other side and you're glad you did. And I think right now we all are looking for some moments of joy and some moments of a shared experience with other people. And that's nothing like live theater to do that, but especially something that's so full of love and joy and happiness and beauty, whether it's, you know, beauty on the stage or whether it's like the beautiful voices or the beautiful story, like all the ways. I feel really lucky and to be able to be a part of this project and to really help to take it forward in the world.
And there are only a handful of opportunities to see this show at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center before. I believe you move on to Virginia next, right?
We are going to Charlotte next. We are going to Virginia in a couple of weeks, but the next stop will be Charlotte. But yes, just through this week with Stages St. Louis at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. Yes.
Show tonight, tomorrow, 2 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday. So this is a pre-Broadway show, and forgive me, I don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean this will be heading to New York eventually?
Eventually is the right word.
Okay.
Yes, the plans are to, you know, one of our authors always says, and I love it, and I try to mimic it whenever possible. She said, you know, this show has the ability for world domination. It has the ability that it can travel anywhere, anyhow, anytime. And so right now we're focused on how do we expand. We're doing this tour right after our production at Stages. Please, yes, if you have not been to Stages St. Louis, please go this week. If not this week to see Austin's Pride, please go see Beautiful in, I think, September, October. They're just such a wonderful company, and it's a beautiful theater, as you were saying, Amy. So please celebrate and support nonprofit regional professional theater because it's so important in all of our communities. So that's my plug there. Please support them.
It really was. It was astounding. And a couple of people I went with, it was their first time there. And it's like it's amazing that we have that here in St. Louis, in Kirkwood, such a beautiful theater. And I know you said Broadway eventually. This may be a dumb question. How do you get to Broadway? Do they ask you? How do you get there?
Do you just show up?
Do you just show up?
Well, some days I think maybe that's the way, but no. You know, it's a long process. It's a very long process. We had started this journey with this show pre-pandemic, and then and had a beautiful production in Connecticut at ACT of Connecticut, which was a small regional professional theater. We then moved on to Seattle Fifth Avenue, which is a very large, beautiful, fantastic touring house and producing entity that produces a lot of pre-Broadway stuff. And we did a gorgeous production there at the end of 2019. And then obviously we know what happened in 2020. So we've been on this journey for a while. And while we had great momentum at that moment in time, with the pandemic, we had to sort of, as everyone did, I hate this word because we all said it so much, but we had to pivot and we had to pause. And in 2023, we did a concert at Carnegie Hall. So as to put some of the music out into the world, we released a few of the tracks from the Carnegie Hall concert, which was with a full Pops orchestra. And then we made this partnership with Stages to create the show and for them to produce it in St. Louis for this 4 weeks. And then the opportunity to go on the road and on tour for this mini tour, which most people don't do before they go to New York, they do after New York. So that becomes all about raising the money, right? That's really about how do you have the money to make sure that you can get there and do these things. And then to get beyond that, you just keep inviting people to the table. You keep pushing forward. You make sure you have the best possible show that you can have. And for me, it's always about how do we spread the word as wide as possible? Because the more people that know about it, the more people who might actually come and fill those theaters and buy the tickets, which is really what matters in the end. Again, that shared experience.
Absolutely. And I highly recommend everyone see Austin's Pride through the end of this month. What did we say the very last day was?
It's Sunday.
August
Sunday.
24th.
Yeah. So
Sunday.
it's coming up. And
5 shows left.
Yeah, we snagged one of the last shows. I can't recommend it enough. It was so much fun, Aaron. As you said, whether you are a Jane Austen fan or not, you haven't read Pride and Prejudice. It is an all-inclusive show. It doesn't. It's not predicated on former knowledge, which I love. And the casting, I just have to brag about it because the singing was amazing. We couldn't, we were debating who was like the best. We're like, is it Jane? Is it Elizabeth? And like I said, the song Fine Eyes, I mean, woof, that was amazing. It just blew me away.
That's Dan Hoy. Everybody should know him. He's brilliant. I mean, like you said, they're all brilliant.
They're all brilliant, yes.
But yes. Well, Chris, if you have time and you want to come, let me know and I'll see if I can, sneak you in the back door.
See, Amy, that's what an invitation sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
don't
Aaron.
do
I
that with
appreciate
Chris.
you.
You're the best. Aaron Craig, producer of the brilliant Austin's Pride, playing at Stages St. Louis. You only have a couple days left. The last show is Sunday. Get your tickets now. Aaron, thank you so much. All the best. We can't wait to see you guys on Broadway.
Thank you so much, Amy and Chris. Take care.
Thank you. So fun. This is it.
This is the one you like?
This is Dan Hoy as Mr. Darcy.
Oh, this guy.
Brought down the house at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center.
Dan Hoy.
He's Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Markscores.
And you know about Ron from Steelville, Illinois? Have you heard of him?
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
He did?
Ron
won?
from Steelville won the tickets to see the Blues and Wild on October 9th.
Love it.
Yeah, so if you're not Ron from Steelville, you are a loser. However, you could win tomorrow. Still one more chance to win tickets for the Blues Wild home opener October 9th. You got to be listening tomorrow for your chance to win. Chris and Amy show happening now. Gas House Gang is coming up at 12 o'clock with Bernie Miklasz and me on KMOX.
Community America is stepping up in St. Louis and showing what excellence in banking looks like. Or in other words, they're winning. Opening more branches? Win. Competitive loan rates? Win. Wealth management? Win. Which now makes sense why they asked me, Cardinal shortstop Mason Wynn, to tell you. That's win with 2 N's, not one. It's time to bank like the Mason winner you are. It's time your financial partner was invested in you. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The legendary sound of the Doobie Brothers is rolling into town. Don't miss the show. Coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, September 4th, with special guest, the Coral Reefer Band. It's a night of timeless hits, epic harmonies, and classic rock energy like only the Doobies can deliver. Tickets are still available and can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, head to KMOX.com/events.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
I think the key is recognizing symptoms and not ignoring them to say, oh, I think that's going to go away. So I highly encourage anyone who's listening, if they're having abnormal bleeding or hasn't seen their gynecologist in a while, to really make that appointment to ensure that you're getting the best health.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
I'm so offended. Stuart McMillan, you sit your little booty down.
Should I leave?
I should leave. I should
Sit
probably.
your
Then sit your
booty down.
Yeah, we got a couple of minutes here, Stuart.
Okay, listen.
And we were just being chastised because Amy kept referring to the Austin's Pride
Yeah, as a play.
musical as a play.
Yeah.
And it's not a play, it's a musical.
It is a musical. Yeah.
A musical is a singing play.
But if you
the
went to
same
see
thing.
Sound of Music, for instance.
I would say a play.
Yeah.
Why?
The Muni
They
is full
sing
of
like the
plays.
whole time.
This is what I do. I go, hey, what plays are at the Muni this summer? That's what I say.
That would be incorrect.
Well, I don't go to the Muni.
They
Yes,
have-
nearly enough.
You know, they have lines just like another
They
actor,
do.
but they're singing lines.
Yeah.
So it's
You know
the
what?
same thing.
We should put up a poll. Is a musical a play?
Well,
Everybody would say yes.
I think it's a musical is a kind of play. That's the way I see
Who
it.
said that? Somebody said it's a singing play. I think
That was
that's
me.
pretty.
I said that
Oh, you said
first.
that?
Did
wait.
you?
I said it's a singing play because all musicals
Good thing
are
I'm here to moderate.
Yeah.
because all,
Who said that anyway?
all musicals are plays, but not all plays are musicals. That's it.
I think she's right.
And the field versus pitch in soccer from the soccer
Insufferable.
people. You
No,
know, it's the same thing.
Well,
That's the
yes,
same
it's- that
thing.
is the
Soccer
same.
people
Yeah.
are insufferable with that. They got all their fancy words like a pitch and a match.
I love it. So according to
And a goalkeeper.
Gemini, artificial intelligence.
good. We have
I thought you
official
meant
Gemini
like
here at
according
Odyssey,
to
too.
Jim and I.
Yeah, Jim and I consulted
almost
with each other.
It's almost
this
like an
says,
attention bar.
This says, yes, a musical is a type of play.
Ha.
It's a theatrical performance that combines acting, singing, and dancing to tell a story.
But it's not a play. It is a musical.
It's a play.
It's its
Like
own
I went to
thing.
go see the musical.
My favorite
no.
play, Hamilton. Like
Yes,
nobody has ever said that.
I've said that.
Am I wrong?
Like, listen, it's like every, a comedy is a movie and a drama is a movie, but they're all movies.
Mm-hmm.
Even what do you consider musicals and movies? Are those not movies anymore?
No, they're musicals. I
A
would
musical.
say Roger Hammerstein. Yeah, musicals.
But they're movies too.
Yeah, but
They
they were
won Movie
they were
of the Year.
musicals first, though.
Well, I don't know.
I'm glad you guys figured this out.
We solved nothing.
Maybe I should ask Erin. I'll text her. Hey,
Yeah,
is this a play?
Yeah, just
I'm getting absolutely pummeled because I called it a play.
well, we won't screw this up next time, I promise. Oh, thanks for nothing, Stuart.
Hey, glad to be here, guys.
Stuart McMillan from the
stuck his
KMOX
nose in
newsroom.
here.
You can hear him on Sunday morning chats with Stu Mac.
Yeah.
That's Amy Marks Cores. I'm Chris
nice
Ranji.
guy.
Yeah, I'm promoting.
Nice mention.
I'm a big promoter. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with Hancock and Kelly.
Yep.
because they start the show with us. We get the full hour with John and Michael. But anything you missed on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts, you should do that. Coming up next, Gas House Gang, Bernie Miklasz and me, Chris Ranji. We'll be joined by Babe Ruth's grandson, Tom Stevens, on the show. He's with us at 12:30. But the Gas House Gang is next on KMOX.
The shrimp got wonky.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with 2 chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing, not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes